But at this moment, she is really in resistance, and, actually really lose his mental pressure. Although this woman's strength level has reached the willing level, it is obvious from her that the strength she has left behind is not even the willing level. He can guess the reason. She had 2 children, but they were the dark and bright children who naturally suppressed each other. It was her luck that she was not sucked up by the 2 children during her pregnancy. However, I'm afraid her cultivation will stop in such a position from now on. After all, her vitality and Ling Zhen have been absorbed almost by the 2 children. However, even under such circumstances, can she still resist him consciously? This may only show that in addition to perseverance, this woman's spiritual strength is amazing. The picture in the white light is more and more distorted, and the memory in the future seems to be forced to the card owner, which only shows that the memory behind must be related to the child. The purpose of Yuzi's return this time is to find her child's whereabouts from her memory. He sent out almost all the disciples in the clan to search, and even the bodyguards in the city went out to search the whole city, but there was no trace of the child. And the cloud dancer is here. The child has not been found out, the only possibility is that someone is helping her. Moreover, that person's strength is absolutely not low, even in their Yuguishan. I'm afraid they still have some ability to cover up the background, otherwise, it's absolutely impossible that they didn't find any trace after he went out in person. That man, he must find out. Because it's very likely that the man is the spy of the dark faction. It may be no accident that the Son of Darkness falls into the hands of the Dark Faction, but once the Son of Light falls into the hands of the Dark Faction, the consequences can be imagined. Therefore, when Yunwu resisted, the white robe of Yuzi Guibai was lifted, which once again increased the oppression of the spiritual power under the white light. The original relaxation of the mind, done time is like countless knives into the cut, the pain can be instant again hit the clouds. The body trembled, like the fallen leaves in the cold wind, as if the soul would burst from the body in the next second. Damn it! Yuzigi's strength is up to 90%. At this time, let alone her, even those who are stronger than him can't resist. But at this time of cloud dance, unexpectedly still with her weak willpower want to with him tenacious resistance. Does she know that this consequence may lead to her becoming an idiot or dying? Well, unconscious pain in the silence of the hall inside the subtle ring, then with the white light trembling like fallen leaves like figure, appears extremely cruel. If you still have consciousness, stop resisting, or you will become an idiot if you don't die. Yuzigi frowned at the cloud dance in the white light, and the palm under the white robe unconsciously clenched into a fist. The cultivation of immortals is very insipid. Even in some emotional aspects, he seems to be very insipid and heartless. However, I don't know why, today, facing this woman called Yunwu, who has surprised him again and again, he will feel some restless emotional fluctuations. It can even be said that it is a complex feeling that even he can't understand. All human beings have 7 emotions and 6 desires. Although the cultivators can't say that they have shielded the so-called 7 emotions and 6 desires, they are less than ordinary people in their bad habits. So, at this moment, the complicated feeling is that Yuzigi, who has always been high above the rest of the world and is born to be a leader, has no way to understand what it is. Cloud Dance at this time can't hear him, all her energy in addition to resistance that is still trying to peel off her memory of mental strength, but also trying to endure the pain that seems to blow her brain. She understood that the mental force forced to intervene in the brain nerve, once the other party resistance, but cannot resist successfully, will certainly cause brain damage. This time, if she can't get through, then wait for her, but even so, she can't let him succeed, can't let the children fall into his hands. However, she felt that she had exhausted all her strength, and still could not stop the powerful pressure that constantly pierced her mind. Did she really accept her fate this time? Accept one's fate? No, the last time she faced death, she could choose not to accept her fate. This time, even if she died again, what was her fear? Yes. She won't accept her fate. Don't in the fierce pain, it seems that under her strong self-consciousness, she became numb and looked at death like home. If resistance does not retreat, advance. At that moment, Yuzigi's face almost changed color. Are you crazy? This sound is more like a roar. Under the roar, the white robe's arm was faster than the brain's reaction, and the white light shrouded in the clouds disappeared. At the moment when the white light disappeared, Yunwoo's body fell back. The white shadow passes by, and Yuzi takes her into his arms the moment before Yunwoo falls to the ground. The smell of blood is light. Beautiful and picturesque face, oozing blood. No, it should be said that the skin of the whole body began to ooze blood. It was like being oppressed by a powerful force. For the first time, from a woman, Yuzigi felt frightened. For the first time, he felt the madness from a woman. Why? Is the maternal love in the human world really strong to this point? But in his impression, people in the human world have inherent bad qualities that can't be stripped away. Greed for life and fear of death are the most common, but now or has he not been to the human world for a long time? The heart that tightly grasps strange feeling, let Jade's son return eyebrow deep lock, but that deep mouse son unconsciously quietly looking at the bosom of that blood person's son like woman. Why? I don't know if he is asking her or asking himself. Since I met her, why do some things seem to be out of control? He is clearly a man with few desires and no emotion. Why does he begin to feel complicated and restless? Clearly have a purpose to her, why see her don't life resistance, can't really start. Will this woman become his future demon? If you kill her, why are the front ones so complicated that they can disappear? No, even if you kill her, it doesn't seem to be able to eliminate the abnormality in your heart. Staring at the woman with weak breath in her arms, Yuzi couldn't calm down in her mind. Countless problems came out, but there was no solution. Alas! Perhaps the elder is right. No matter how to avoid the fate, it is useless. After a sigh, Yuzigi's voice was stained with a sense of helplessness and inexplicable emotion. Holding Yunwoo, Yuzigi turns around and leaves the hall. In the air, there is still the smell of blood. The breeze at the door gently blows and flows, and it seems that it gradually disappears. Destiny. Many things seem to be arranged in advance by fate. When you think you have broken away from fate, you find that fate is still secretly pulling you forward towards the gear of fate. Lord, how can this girl? Big Elder Hall. Looking at the patriarch holding the blood-like cloud dance came in, the elder could not help frowning at Yuzi Gui and the cloud dance in his arms. It seems that something is wrong. With the method of exploring memory in Zhongniai, she forced resistance, so I want to use your healing pool to let her heal. As a matter of fact, there are at least hundreds of Chi-Tsu healing within the sect, but the only one who can heal the mental strength is the elder who majored in mental strength. She forcibly resisted the patriarch's method of exploring memory. The elder's eyes widened as if he had heard something surprising. Well, the first time she used 60% of the force, she almost resisted, and finally she used 90% of the force, but she still resisted forcibly. Yuzigi said with no expression on his handsome face, but there was only a trace of emotional fluctuation in his eyes. 90% power. The elder knows better than anyone what this means. Do you mean that this girl still resists when you use 90% of the force? So when you use 90% of the force, her consciousness is still clear. This is the real shock. The method of exploring memory will not cause much damage to the other party, because when exploring memory, it will first release the mental pressure to oppose drowsiness, and then it will happen. Even if the mental power of a stronger person, in the absence of the other party's strong situation, even if you want to resist, it will only cause temporary pain, and the follow-up will also be brought into deep sleep. This is the first time to hear that someone can still have self-consciousness to resist under the method of exploring memory with 90% of the power of their patriarch. Who is this girl? After a while, the elder's gaze at Yunwoo became a little hot. He even wanted to peel off her head to see if her brain structure was different from that of ordinary people. In terms of mental strength, the elder is good at his profession. Even in their Yugui mountain, he has never met such a special person. Curiosity is natural. Okay, give me the man and I'll take her to heal. With that, the elder can't wait to reach forward and take Yunwoo from Yuzi's arms. Jade's son returned but subconsciously back a step, avoided to open. And this behavior, Not only big elder Leng for a while, Jade's son return also stiff for a while. How did he, Lord, you? She's covered with blood. Don't dirty the elder. I'll take the person into the medicine pool first, and then let the maid go. Elder Wen Yan, just see more Jade's son to return to One Eye after no longer reluctantly. However, he still asked, have you found the child's whereabouts from her memory? Yuzigi shook his head. I can see all the memories in front of her, but only the children's part. She began to resist. However, as long as she was here, the children would be able to find it. Well. The elder thought deeply for a while, and then nodded, okay, then you take people in. I'll let the maid in to take over. Seeing the patriarch enter the inner hall, the elder's deep eyes gradually flash a light of wisdom and inexplicable worry. Lust is the last thing to exist in this realm of cultivating immortals. Lord, don't be confused. Until the figure of Yuzigi disappeared in sight, the elder sighed. Then he called someone to come and sent the maid to the medicine pool in the inner courtyard. Human world. Yunfu, after that, began to become much quieter. Yunqi, however, seems to be several years old in a few months. No news yet. In the hall, Yunqi, sitting on the throne, looks at the bodyguard who came back from outside and asks. This question seems to be asked every time someone comes back from outside. The leading bodyguard shook his head and looked a little dejected. Back to the old master, not yet. They asked their subordinates to come back and tell you that they would continue to look for the young lady. Please don't worry. Yunwu, the young lady they admire and adore, almost all the guards of Yunjia family feel guilty and worried about the disappearance of this period of time. They are responsible for protecting the Cloud family, but their young lady is taken away under their nose. The pain of guilt is the knot in the hearts of every Cloud family guard. Hearing or not, Yunqi's eyes darken. Is there any news? What happened to his granddaughter and great-grandson? If every time Yunqi thinks about it, he doesn't dare to think about it. He's really afraid. A family, after so many experiences, faced with so many lives and deaths, finally thought that the world was peaceful. How could such a thing happen? Yunlingyi looks at his father, who is obviously several years old. He feels uncomfortable and comforts him in a low voice. Dad, don't worry. Nanganji will find a way. Moreover, I believe my daughter won't be so easy to have anything wrong. Yes, nothing will happen to Xiaowu. Yunqi echoed. But his inner uneasiness, but still cannot calm. By the way, is there any news from the four elders? Yunqi asks the leading bodyguard. When Yunwu had an accident, the four old souls gathered from southeast and northwest said they could find Yunwu, but since they left that day, they never heard of any news coming back. It's been several months since I heard from you. It's really painful. The bodyguard still shook his head and said respectfully, no, the four old men haven't heard any news since they left that day. This time, we went out to inquire about the news of the four old men, but it's strange that no matter in the human world or in the upper world, there is no news of the four old men at all. If they had not seen the four old men with their own eyes, people would have doubted whether they existed or not. However, where did they know that the four old men, from the beginning of tracking, directly chased out of their cognitive space and entered another fairyland continent that they could not touch at all? The area of the dark faction of fairyland. Since the last time they fought with Night, at the intersection of the dark places, the four old men almost went all over the dark places in order to chase down the son of the dark who was about to be born. For more than a month, they have covered most of the dark areas in a carpet style. Whether it's Night or the son of darkness, they must solve it by themselves. Otherwise, they are afraid that the three realms will fall into a state of destruction in the future. However, they think that Cloud Dance is pregnant with the son of darkness, and it will only be in the dark place. After all, only in this dark area is the most suitable for the needs of the son of darkness. But what they don't know is that there is another bright sun in Yunwu's stomach. At the beginning, Little Potato felt that another child in Yunwu needed the power of light, so he directly took Yunwu into the land of Bright Faction. Moreover, he directly intruded into the Lingquan pool of Guangming Faction. This kind of behavior, not to mention the four old men, even the knight, did not expect. What to do? I haven't found it yet. By calculation, the dark sun should have been born for more than a month. It's not very good for us if we go on like this. The eastern old man said, looking at the frown surrounded by mountains. You know, when the son of darkness is the weakest, it is just when he was born, which is also the best time to kill him, and the longer the time, the stronger the son of darkness will be. The four of them are just spirits now, and their residual strength is not as much as 1/10 of what they were before. If the dark sun can absorb enough dark power to grow up, even if the four of them join hands, they will not be able to destroy it. Every time I think about it, the four old men don't look very well. Have you found the man named Knight? Have you found out his real identity? The old man in the west looked at the other three and asked. For more than a month, in order to find people as soon as possible, the four of them searched separately. You know, this fairyland continent is more than 5 times larger than that human world. Although the whole fairyland continent is divided into other regions, this dark region alone is enough for the geography of the whole human world. The four of them searched separately at the fastest speed for a month, only to find more than half of them. The old man in the east shook his head. No, that man has disappeared, even his nest has been destroyed. Yes, I've paid special attention to it, and I haven't found any trace. If he doesn't leave this dark area, he's hidden very deep. Well, after all, we have been away from the fairyland for a long time, and we are still spirits now. The four old men fell into silence. Yes, now is not the time when they were at their peak, but, this peaceful world, which they exchanged for with their whole life's hard work, should they just watch them step by step into extinction? The four old men didn't want to see this answer, which led to their tireless search for more than a month. Stop talking. Let's go on. I don't believe it. I can't find anyone in this dark place, said the old man in the north. Well, we will continue to act separately as before, and wait for the next junction city to meet. The old man in the east nodded. However, when the four old men were ready to start again, the old man in the south suddenly thought of something. By the way, you wait first. What's the matter? The three old men turned their heads at the same time. Have you heard recently that the son of Guangming was born in Yuguishan sect in Guangming area? Said the old man in the south. Well, I've heard of this news, but after the birth of the son of darkness, the son of light is born. This is a cycle of the balance of heaven. It's not new. The old man in the east thought for a while. It is because they know this in their hearts that they are not surprised. I know that, but I think it's strange to hear that after the birth of the son of light, the dark emperor of the dark cloud palace in the dark area also appeared. Do you think there is any relationship between the two? It's a coincidence. I heard that the other three old men looked at each other, and the tacit understanding between them was self-evident. It seems that the one we searched behind will pass through the dark cloud palace. At that time, let's go and have a look. Good. That's settled. After discussion, the four old men turned into a light and shadow again and went in 4 directions. The speed is so fast that in a twinkling of an eye, you can still see the traces of the 4 figures on the whole mountain. Deep in the night. Stars dot the sky, full moon embellishment, the evening wind blowing slowly, with a trace of vegetation fresh and comfortable feeling. In particular, the whole air is full of rich aura. Warm and full of medicine in the pool water, a figure quietly soaked in the pool. After the blood receded, the body could not begin to absorb the aura in the air. And the mind, which has become turbid and tingling under the strong pressure, is gradually beginning to repair in this comfortable atmosphere. On the edge of the pool stood a maid. When the maid saw the cloud dancing in the pool and began to heal automatically under the effect of the medicine pool, she quietly withdrew and prepared to report the situation to the patriarch outside the door. So, she did not see, not long after she retreated, the cloud dancing body in the pool suddenly shocked, and then, a green light flickered in her abdomen. Then, a green bud came out of her white skin little by little. The medicine pool is dark black. After the green bud comes out, it is like automatic absorption. it begins to absorb the medicine in the pool crazily. The black pool water gradually began to fade. If Yunwoo is still awake at this time, she must know that the little green bud coming out of her abdomen is not the unknown poisonous root that the torrent river inserted into her abdomen at the beginning. However, at the beginning, the root of the tree also turned into a willow and appeared from her abdomen, but later, it gradually calmed down. Over time, Yunwoo almost forgot its existence. But unexpectedly, now at this time, it came out by itself. As the color of the dark black medicine pool gradually lightened, the willow, which was originally just a small green bud, began to grow at the speed of the naked eye like it had been treated with hormone. Soon, the whole medicine pool was covered with slender willows, as strange as spider web. And Cloud Dance, in the middle of the green, quiet sleep, that beautiful face is as pale as paper, but it does not lose color. Light moonlight through the window, hazy sprinkled on the pool. Under the cover of a ray of moonlight, the willows in the pool seemed to get some chance and gradually began to surge. Like there is life in general, began to go towards the moonlight. Cloud Dance, the body was wrapped in tender green willow, lying flat on it, with the surging willow was also taken away. The half-closed window is opened silently. Dense willow, bit by bit silent along the window, along the wall, toward the roof. The night wind blows gently, taking up the black hair outside the wicker, and dancing in the night, creating a strange and enchanting posture. Yunwoo lies flat on the roof wrapped by willows. The full moon envelopes her, arousing a cool and crisp feeling. Around the aura, but also with the sense of numbness and more crazy towards her body. At this moment, Yunwoo's body is like a bottomless cave, which is full of food. It starts to empty the spiritual power around it. The 5 Zong organs and 6 Fu organs began to undergo earth-shaking changes. The capacity in the veins began to expand bit by bit, and the roots that wrapped her dantian began to melt, turning into a green airflow, spinning around the periphery of dantian bit by bit, fusing the unique. But every time the green air turns around, the aura in the air around the roof is instantly absorbed. You know, Yuguishin is a place full of light and spirit. Although the aura inside the roof can only be regarded as a drop in the bucket, it can be evacuated instantly, so the fluctuation is absolutely not small. After hearing the maid's report, Yuzi Gui didn't want to stay in the elder's hall, so he told the elder and left. But not long after he left, he felt a strange wave in the air. Inside the great elder hall. The elder was originally in the hall to practice breathing, but not long after he was settled, he suddenly felt the changes in his inner courtyard. So when the next wave of changes appeared, his figure disappeared in the same place. What's the matter? As soon as the elder stepped into the inner courtyard, he saw that the maid who served Yunwoo came in a hurry. Elder, the girl suddenly disappeared. The maid was obviously worried. Gone. The elder frowned, but at this moment, the strange wave in the air came again. Roof. Sensing the location of the moment, the elder figure has quickly passed the maid, toward the direction of the medicine pool. However, as soon as the elder left, he saw that Yuzi Gui, who had just left, came very quickly. Lord. The maid Fu body just respectfully called, but the figure of Yuzi Gui also passed her and disappeared at the end of the medicine pool in the inner courtyard. Elder, what's the matter? As soon as he arrived, Yuzi Gui frowned at the figure on the roof not far away. In the dark, if you don't pay attention, it's not easy to notice. But the strength of Yuzigi and the elder has reached a level. How can every movement in Yuguishin sect escape their reaction? That girl is in wood spirit syncretic. The elder's eyes tightly locked the cloud dance wrapped by green willows on the roof, and he didn't know whether it was excited or dignified in his words. Muling and E. Yuzi Gui's eyes flashed a little surprised, but he covered up quickly and frowned. She's just a mortal in the human world. How can there be a wood spirit and a stone? Where does the spirit come from? Why didn't he feel anything before? Lord, it seems that we may have underestimated this girl. The elder said with great significance. Yes, they may have underestimated this girl from the beginning. In their eyes, she is just a mortal in the human world. One can hide from under their eyes for more than half a month without any trace to be found. Just from this point, it can show that the girl is not simple. What's more, this time they caught her, she probably came out by herself. If she wants to hide, I'm afraid they really, Elder, can you see which kind of wood spirit she and she are in one? From now on, it looks like it's just a low-level willow spirit. But if it's really just a low-level willow spirit, it's absolutely impossible for it to absorb so much aura. Moreover, it's only the first time that it's fused. It needs so much aura to support it. I'm afraid that evolution will be even more amazing in the future. The spirit of wood is the spirit of wood between heaven and earth, which has the effect of assisting the cultivation of immortals. The spirit of wood lives in a place full of aura and has high and low levels of immortal killing spirit. However, it is not uncommon in the fairyland. However, not every immortal can have the opportunity to integrate with the spirit of wood. The spirit of wood is a spirit because it has the consciousness of choosing the Lord. If the man who cultivates immortals doesn't fit the spirit of wood, no matter how high the man's cultivation is, there is no way to have the chance to merge with the spirit of wood. However, what surprised them was that people in Cloud Dance could merge the spirit of wood, which was really incredible. So even you can't see the true essence of the spirit of the wood? Yuzuki was surprised at this. Because what he saw and felt was the same as the elder. On the surface, it's just a low-level willow spirit. This willow spirit is the most common spirit of wood in the elf forest. However, it is absolutely impossible for Lu Muling to have such a powerful spiritual power. Even when he fused with the spirit of advanced wood at the beginning, he didn't make the fluctuation of this kind of spiritual power vacancy. Well, when the full moon merges, one of the cases is that the dark is the spirit of wood, but what it absorbs is our aura of light. This is too abnormal, Patriarch. Do you think it is possible that this is a variant spirit of wood? The elder turned to look at Yuzi and asked. Yuzuki had no choice but to shake his head. It should not be. According to the records, the spirit of mutated wood generally does not have such a pure root. Alas, although this girl is a member of the human world, she can give birth to the son of light and the son of darkness at the same time. We can't look at her with ordinary eyes. It's estimated that the spirit of the wood will not be simple. If we can take such a talent for our own use, it's definitely a blessing for our Yuguishan and Guangming families. If it's the opposite, it's definitely a future trouble. However, the elder didn't say it. Yes. If she can be in the light system, then everything seems to be complete. But is it possible? Think of her that don't want to die of Protect Du's son of madness. Jade's son returned to the bottom of the heart helplessly rise smile for a while. Under the full moon night, people on the roof are absorbing the aura of the moon, and they have no awareness of the outside world. Under the room two people, actually and has not a word chat. People who don't know think they are watching the moon. But only they themselves know that this is not appreciating the moon, it is appreciating people. In a few days. When the last green light is really integrated into the whole body meridians, the integration of wood and spirit is really completed. The Cloud Dance, which has been sleeping on the roof for several days, slowly wakes up from sleep. Wake up. How do you feel? A low and calm voice came suddenly. The Cloud Dance just woke up with a sudden voice. Suddenly he turned his head. When he saw Yuzi returning not far away, Lu Mei suddenly wrinkled. Why are you here? The voice that hasn't spoken for several days seems to be a little hoarse. But just after that, Yunwu noticed that she was half lying on the roof, and Yuzi was on the other side of the roof. This what happened? She remembers by the way, her memory stayed in Yuzuki's intake of her memory, and finally under strong pressure thinking of the situation before his coma, Yunwu couldn't hide his anger. This man used such mean means. In the past 5 days, you have been practicing the unity of wood and spirit. Yuzi didn't return to her question, but said in a statement. He could see clearly the angry disgust under her eyes, but he could not explain anything. The combination of wood and spirit? What's that? But what did he say just now? 5 days? She slept 5 days. Yunwoo's face suddenly changed, and a sense of anxiety suddenly rose from her heart. Her child. 5 days, how did her 2 children live? Originally thought that she could take advantage of the milk day to anger him, and then see if she could take the opportunity to escape, but never thought that she would sleep for 5 days. How are her children these 5 days? Does that man have a purpose for her children? No, she has to go back. At this time, it was on the roof, so after Yunwoo got up, he tried to stand on tiptoe. He had planned to stand up to the top to see the environment at this time. But I didn't expect that the lightness of the body was like feathers. Under the force, the body flew away, as if it could break through the air. This sudden situation really frightened Yunwoo. As soon as the body shakes, it falls in a scream. But before landing, he was caught by a figure. Your body has just fused with the spirit of wood. You still need to adapt. There's no need to rush. Low voice in the ear light ring out. Cloud dance immediately reaction come over, in a moment will take to embrace her jade sun to return to push to open. Her body changes, Cloud dance at this moment seems to obviously feel something wrong. But it's not the time for her to explore, at least not in front of this man. I don't know when master you can let me go. Cloud dance swept an eye empty all around, coldly looking at that body white robe pure cold jade sun return. When the child is found. Jade's sun returned to meet up her line of sight, don't avoid to say. Cloud dance but sneer, isn't master you already seeing all my memories? But I didn't see the child part, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I can't feel any apology. Yunwoo knows that now she is just like the fish on the chopping board. She has no choice whether to cut or chop. Don't play empty, it's better for you to say directly what you want to do. Looking at a pair of decidedly like Cloud dance, Jade's sun return but don't know why feel heart floating up inexplicable impetuous. I think Miss Yun has a misunderstanding. I won't do anything to her. It's just that the Sun of Light is too important to us. Moreover, in a few days, the Dark Emperor of Dark Cloud Palace will go to our Yugui Mountain. Once they know that the Sun of Light is not in our Yugui Mountain, they are afraid that they will be chased by the whole black sect. This is also for your safety. On the surface, the Dark Department and the Light Department get along with each other and are in harmony. It can be said that only when there is an inner lover can we know. The relationship between the two has already reached the point of hair trigger. So far, the two can maintain the apparent harmony, but they still lack a fuse. And this fuse is likely to be her children. At the beginning, he would want to kill the son of the dark, in addition to the consequences of the prophecy and the rumor, but also in order to be a step ahead of the dark system and take precautions. However, all this sounds like a funny joke in Yunwoo's ears, with a trace of irony in his eyes. For our safety. It's quite a high-sounding excuse. I don't know how you Yuguishin will be responsible for our safety. Kill my daughter and control my son. Or do you have a better way? Yuzi Gui's brow was wrinkled, and a trace of shame and anger rarely appeared on his handsome face. However, he was interrupted by Yunwoo as soon as he opened his mouth. If Master Yu doesn't like to listen, it's good that he doesn't hear me. I'm a guest. I wonder if Master Yu can show me around the door. Yuzigi watched the cloud dance for a long time. Her deep eyes flickered with a flash of light, and her face became calm. If Miss Yun is interested, she can. Then please lead the way. Cloud dance has a dull look. Even if we have reached this point, we might as well find a way to see if we can turn passivity into initiative. Miss Yun, this way, please. Yuzigi stretched out his hand and made a gesture of invitation towards a path in the courtyard. This is the courtyard of a medicine garden. There are 4 paths in it. It is not known where to go. Cloud dance has no impression of how to get here. However, if these people want to know the whereabouts of the child from her, it can only show that the child has not been found so far. With little potatoes, Yunwoo's heart was a little looser. Because even the man who helps her has a purpose for her children, as long as there is a little potato, it can at least ensure safety. Leave the Great Elder Hall. People on the road gradually began to have disciples walking back and forth, as well as some bodyguards and maids specialized in safety and daily food. However, it's strange that everyone, whether a disciple or a maid or a bodyguard, looks at Yunwoo and feels strange. Yunwoo didn't care much. After all, she was wanted. Others look at her eyes not quite right, it seems quite normal, but slowly, Yunwoo found that it seems that something is wrong. Because, those eyes out of a trace of inspection, there is a trace of curiosity and envy. It's not normal to look envious of a wanted person. Of course, Yunwoo didn't ask Yuzi why, but with every place he walked, those eyes came everywhere. Cloud Dance, which originally did not like this situation, will not like it even more at this time. Finally, when walking through one of the training squares in Yugwashin, Yunwoo stopped. "Why don't you go?" Jade's son returned looking at that unconscious Cu raised eyebrow of Cloud Dance, inquired away. In fact, how could he not know why she stopped, but he did not intend to stop her. She should understand that something will happen even if she doesn't like it. "I heard that your Yugwashin sect is very big. When are you going to take me like this?" Yunwoo frowned at him. "What do you think? You are in Fairyland, shouldn't you have a sword flying?" Flying sword. As soon as Yuzi picked up Mei Feng, an undercurrent flashed at the bottom of his deep eyes. Looking at the clouds, he curved his mouth. If this is what Miss Yun thought, then fly with the sword. At the end of the speech, Yuzigue's fingertips suddenly soared in the air, and then a white light burst into the air. Shwa! The silver light flashed in the sun, and the cold breath came. Looking up, I saw a sword floating in the air. And Yuzigi also at this time, the white-robed figure jumped in the air, and immediately stood firmly on the floating sword. Miss Cloud. Yuzigue's sword lowered a little and stretched out his hand to Chaoyun Dance. No wonder some people used to say that the TV series originated from life. Yunwoo looked at the royal sword like the mythical TV series and couldn't help ticking his lips. However, Yunwoo didn't respond to Yuzi Gui who held out her hand. Heart read a move, wrist move, a big knife in the hand. Then, in Yuzigi's sight, Yunwoo mobilizes his heart and infuses his luck and elixir into it. I don't know how to enlarge the dagger, but she subconsciously knows how to inject spiritual power into the dagger and fly with the sword. As soon as the spirit power was poured in, the sword was light and floated in front of my eyes. Cloud Dance is introverted. As soon as he stands on tiptoe, he jumps onto the broadsword and begins to shake unsteadily, but soon finds the balance point. But this scene, all fall in the jade sun to return to eyes, take back to stretch out of hand, as for difficult not embarrassed, temporarily can't see from his face. Master Yu, I wonder if you can show me around your jade mountain. It's Yugwashin, not Yugwashin's clan. How big Yugwashin is and where it extends to are unknown to Yunwoo. But this time, she really wanted to have a clear understanding. However, it is not known whether Yuzi Guitong agrees or not. Because, after that, Yunwoo found the balance point, rose up and went to the sky in any direction. In fact, flying with a sword is similar to flying with a sword, but it's just a sword. Of course, this is just what Yunwoo thinks. Looking at the cloud dance in the sky, Yuzigi thought for a while, then slowly rushed to catch up. The gap in strength is really obvious. Far away from the cloud dance of Yuzi's return, he flies towards the direction of advance with the fastest speed. Naturally, he has the idea of whether he can escape from it. But when he saw Yuzi Gui, who was not far away from him in a twinkling of an eye, Yunwoo realized that it was really impossible to escape under his eyes. It took about half an hour to reach the barrier on a mountain. It took half an hour for the royal sword to fly to the border barrier, which does not include the distance on the other side. So it can be seen that the area of Yugwashin is not small. I'm afraid that the size of a small country may be equal to that of the employers. Standing on the top of the mountain, the cloud dances and looks at the other side of the mountain outside the border. There is a kind of meditation under the calm look. Yunwoo guessed the meaning of the barrier of Yugwashin, but she couldn't break it if she tried her best. What's more, I heard that it was reinforced later. However, if the border can't be broken, she wants to take her children to escape from Yuguishan, so she can only go out from the main entrance of Yuguishan. But can Yuguishan release people? Cloud Dance knows the answer better than anyone else. Are they really going to be trapped in this place? Looking at the continuous mountain in the distance, Yunwoo didn't pay attention to it. Not far behind her, she quietly looked at Yuzi-Gui, and her thoughts drifted away. Bright and dazzling sunlight, shining on the thin figure, with a faint halo. Yuzigi looked at the figure in the sunshine. It was clear that they were not far apart, but somehow, he always felt that they were far away from each other. Deep eyes can't help but a little dark, step forward inexplicably, 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, he didn't stop until he could touch her with only 1 step left. Su Feng under the sun gently blowing, with her body that cold breath, the tip of the nose micro-movement, subconsciously sniffed, the deep dark eyes seemed to be a little clearer. However, this unintentional move, Yuzigi seems to have not found anything wrong. But Yunwoo had already recovered when he approached. However, she did not look back, so she did not see his behavior. What were you thinking? Are you thinking about him? Half ring, Jade's son returned that calm voice, light of open mouth. He refers to the man he saw from her memory, Long Qingxie. Master Yu seems to be very interested in my private affairs. Yunwoo didn't look back, but the irony was obvious. Yunwoo didn't like Yuzigi very much. Jade's son returned Leng for a while, seemed this just some reaction come over, own of not right. I'm just curious about people. Jade's son returned low voice Wei. Curious about people? The cloud danced like a smile, but not a smile. You who cultivate immortals in the fairyland, don't you all care about the secular world? Don't you think his words are funny? Yuzi doesn't feel angry at Yunwoo's sarcastic words, but she feels uncomfortable at the bottom of her heart. The discomfort does not come from her sarcastic behavior, but from her disgust towards him. He didn't know why he cared more and more about her mood. In other words, he didn't want to think about why there was something wrong with him. Because, once he understood the reason, he was afraid that everything would be out of control. However, the inner feeling of more and more wrong, but more and more unable to hide. Those who cultivate immortals are still human beings, and they are not separated from the mortal body. Therefore, it is not that there is no perception and emotion at all. The cloud dances to turn ahead, eyes tiny Miev looked at him. Jade's son returns to the line of sight that she suddenly turns head on to see, the bottom of the heart suddenly trembles, a wipe has never had of shyness unexpectedly from his bottom of the eye flash. And that streamer, Cloud Dance did not miss, cannot help but Leng for a while. Did she just read it right? Shy. Will this kind of emotion appear on the headmaster of Yuguishan? However, in the face of Yunwoo's astonished gaze, Yuzigi quietly converged his strange color and resumed his former cool way. They have already arrived at Luofeng. It's better to take you out for a walk. Out? She heard right. He's taking her out to Yuguishan. Well, after crossing Luofeng Mountain, you will really enter the bright area in the center of the light system. You should have never really seen the fairyland. From her memory, she was brought into the fairyland. It is estimated that she could not have been to other parts of the fairyland. What does Cloud Dance mean? This is to take her to the bright area of fairyland, isn't it? Wait, why don't you just say what you want to do? See Jade's son return summon to fly sword, want to take her jump to fly sword of time, Cloud Dance quickly stop Wei. She wants to escape from the Jade Mountain, but the premise is that she wants to take her children and escape from the people who want to control them. Can't he see that he can't use coercion, and he plans to use temptation to plot? Don't worry, I won't do anything to you anymore. You just follow me. Look at our fairyland. Don't you want to know? Jade's son returned very normal indifferent said, but really let Cloud Dance heart. This fairyland, she is still completely strange, to understand this fairyland, after her escape from the Jade Mountain will be of great help. You let go, I will keep up with you. Yunwoo wants to break his hand. You use your spiritual power to defend the sword. It costs too much to support your destination. Follow me, you only need half a candle. Besides, Luofeng Mountain is not easy to walk. You will understand in a moment. As soon as the voice of Yuzi's return came down, he jumped up with the cloud dance, and the flying sword flew out in the air. When Yuzigi was flying in the air with the flying sword, the border barrier, which was clearly close at hand, disappeared automatically. Cloud Dance wanted to say something else, but it was silent. Flying in the sky, straight into the sky, white clouds pass in front of my eyes, a vast expanse of white, hurricanes buzzing in my ears, but I can't feel the wind blowing. She knew that Yuzigi must have done something. But soon, Yunwu understood why he had just said that Luofeng Mountain was not easy to walk. It turned out that originally it looked like a continuous mountain peak, not too unique. However, when we got closer, we found that the peaks were actually as sharp as a blade. Moreover, the high and low levels of the clouds conflict with each other. If you want to fly over the top of Luofeng Mountain, you can't do it without super high strength. Even if it's Yuzi-Gui, you have to be careful occasionally. After half a candle, the white clouds gradually dissipated, the flying sword slowly began to descend, and began to land in the sunshine. What surprised Yunwu was the two suns hanging side by side in the sky. The sun hanging high above the head doesn't make people feel hot. On the contrary, it is very comfortable to rise a little lazy. The Dantian field starts to work automatically, and the thick light power in the air begins to be absorbed slowly. It's so strange that there is much more bright and spiritual power here than in Yuguishan. The landing place was outside a small forest of trees. The vegetation was full of vitality and green, and no one was found. Why is there only one sun in Yuguishan, but there are two here? Looking up at the sky and the sun, Yunwu couldn't help asking curiously. If you want to understand the fairyland, you can't do without asking Yuzi-Gui. This is the central part of the region of the light system, where the two suns meet at noon, and when they meet, they are also the most powerful in the whole light system. In the same situation, there are dark areas, but they are the two bright moons at night. Yuzigi patiently explains to Yunwu. Oh, where are we going now? I'm afraid it's not just here. We are just entering the edge of the land, the nearest Fengshe also need to walk more than an hour or so. Walking? For tens of thousands of years, the center has been shrouded in the air with natural barriers. No matter who can't fly in the air, they can only walk or ride animals or carriages. Oh. Should a cloud dance also no longer asked. Yuzigi took a deep look at Yunwu and began to walk in the direction of Fengshe. Yunwu followed. In fact, Yuzi didn't say that except for what he said, there was no way to fly in the air. After all, many things have been solved over the past tens of thousands of years. You can't fly with a sword, but you can use an aircraft. And this aircraft, in fact, is just a kind of flying immortal made by the inner alchemist of the immortal world. It is useless to use the spiritual power to drive it. It only needs a crystal stone as the energy source, which is enough. However, Yuzigi didn't want to use it. An hour, say long or not long, say short or not short, and along the way, the two did not say a word. This quiet and awkward mode of getting along with each other was finally broken when we saw the gate of Fengshe. Because, the closer to the gate of the city, many visitors began to gather around. Those who cultivate immortals wear simple and pure color robes, some come slowly, some are in a hurry. All kinds of immortals, everyone obviously feel out of the clean bright atmosphere, give people a sense that everyone is upright. Of course, no matter where it is, there are some people who don't like to be too like others and don't want to be too ordinary. But they didn't attract many people's attention. It should be said that those people don't care about other people's affairs too much, and they have a sense of indifference of sweeping the snow in front of the door. Approaching those people who entered the city, there were only a few people who glanced at the cloud dance, and then they didn't care about such a person with the atmosphere of ordinary people. Let's go in. After looking back at Yunwu, Yuzi took the lead in walking to the city. I saw, just into the gate line, Yuzigi disappeared in the blink of an eye. Even the breath also disappeared in the air. Then Cloud Dance Aleng, the footstep can't help but stop for a while. Array? The answer is not sure, but it seems like a good time to run away. But this idea just flashed in my mind, and was soon suppressed by Cloud Dance. Not to mention the child, even if it is Yuzigi, he can walk in front of her so as not to prevent her from running away. I'm afraid he has his own way. Think of here, Cloud Dance that originally stopped the pace, immediately also continued to move forward. See, blink of an eye, her figure also disappears in the air. Just now, you have a chance to go. In front of the white light, a low voice came from my ear. Yuzigi is standing not far from the entrance, deep eyes looking at her, meaning deep. Cloud Dance but just glanced at him, then no longer words over him. Seeing this, Yuzigue's mouth rose slightly, and his steps went up. He said casually as he walked, every square city in the fairyland has a defensive array, which is to maintain the daily order. As long as we step into the square city, we will be restricted by the rules of the square city. We can't fight, steal, abuse or bully. Once we find someone who violates the rules, we will be punished, will be abolished by the city's manager's manager. It seems that this Fairyland Square City is more orderly than those shopping malls in previous lives. The Cloud dances the eye to sweep this all around, looking at the so-called Square City in this fairyland. I can only see that all of them are classical pavilions, with a little old simplicity, but they don't make people feel old-fashioned. The entrance of the city gate is a main road leading straight ahead, and there are several bifurcations on the main road, leading to the pavilion streets in all directions. Walking on the middle road, Yunwoo knows that there are all kinds of people, such as the immortal cultivator with flying sword, the dwarf with a pair of translucent wings and sharp ears, the man wrapped in black fog, the ORC with head, and even the necromancer who is as thin as a skeleton. Let for the first time to see this strange people gathered in a place, safely between the Cloud dance, cannot help but silly Leng for a long time. This really can't blame her. She thinks that the people in the fairyland, just like those in Yuguishan, are just powerful people who practice fairyland. But I didn't expect that there were so many races in the whole fairyland. No wonder there are defenses and managers in Fengshi. If we don't have the necessary protective measures, I'm afraid this is not a bit of chaos. Come on, I'll show you around. Jade's son returned to see Cloud dance. Silly Leng like stopped a pace, two eyes star Mao dribble around disorderly turn, a pair of surprised appearance, really feel interesting and. Yunwoo's temperament wants to be very calm, rarely let oneself have a gaffe in front of others, so it's hard to see her expression at this time. Isn't this Master Yu? I haven't seen you for nearly 100 years. What brings you here today? Oh, who is this beautiful girl? Just as they went straight to the main road, they came to the front of a pavilion store. An elf old man with sharp ears, like a dwarf, met him with a smile and a whole face. His eyes were fixed on Yunwoo and looked up and down. Yuzigi was just polite. After nodding, he didn't answer his question. His face was indifferent. But the old elf had been used to it for a long time, and the smile on his face remained unchanged. Come and look in the shop. Recently, many good things have come. Even if Master Yu can't use them, I think this girl will be able to use them. Originally, Yuzigi didn't plan to enter, but after hearing this, he didn't hesitate to step into the store. Cloud dance didn't say much, but followed. Seeing this, the elf old man was full of joy and entertained happily. As soon as I went in, there were several exquisite shelves floating around the empty pavilion store. In the twinkling of an eye, the whole store is full of many things, just like a small supermarket. All kinds of things are put on the exquisite shelves, with models and shapes. At this time, I saw the old elf walking straight towards the shelf in the corner. Soon, he took out a box full of dust. I patted it casually, the dust was flying, almost choked by Yunwoo. Haha, it's not easy to get this treasure, but the treasure in our shop, if it's not for Master Yu's face, I'm not willing to take it out. Hearing the old man's words, Yunwoo felt a little disgusted. Look at the frightening dust, are you sure it's the treasure of Jindian? Not unsaleable goods. However, looking at the structure of the store, it is quite simple and chic on the whole, and the first store that can be opened on the main road should also have some outlets. Think of here, Cloud Dance line of sight can't help but toward the shop around swept, carefully looked up. I found that most of the things in the shop are flying swords for cultivating immortals, while some of them are clothes and bottles. As for the utility of those things, Yunwu can't hear for the moment. Girl, this is a good thing to mend the body, especially for women who have just had a baby. The old elf looked at the Cloud Dance deeply, giving people a strange feeling. Human world woman. It seems that the race of the fairyland is indeed much higher than that of the human world. But I don't know why, to his eyes, Cloud Dance's heart rose a very uncomfortable feeling, like, kind old man looking at his granddaughter's gentle. Coupled with his image like a dwarf, she couldn't tell what was wrong. How could Yuzigi not notice his eyes? He said blandly, "What's that?" The old man took out the box, but he never opened it. Master you also know the rules here. The old elf turned to Yuzi happily. There is an unwritten rule in this market, that is, during the transaction, the store has the right not to show the goods to the buyer before the transaction is concluded. In fact, can such a business be done? However, it is often so mysterious that it attracts more and more people to bid for it, even if it is possible to get something that is of little use at that time. Of course, some things can be seen at a glance, such as clothes, appliances, etc. How much? Originally, the treasure of Jindian would not be sold easily. Since the Jade Master wanted it, let's have 1,000 pieces of medium-quality spirit stones. The old man said with a smart smile. 1,000 medium-grade spirit stones are equal to 10,000 low-grade spirit stones or 100 high-grade spirit stones. The spirit stone has pure and powerful spirit power, which is beneficial to the cultivator without any harm. It is absolutely a necessity or luxury for cultivation. Therefore, in the fairyland, Lingshire became the currency in circulation. The reason why it is said to be a luxury is that the spirit stone is not only used for money, but also for cultivation. The so-called use of a little less, few people can freely absorb cultivation. This is the general market price. After all, few people use it to provide money, while most people use it for cultivation. As soon as the old man opened his mouth, there were 1,000 pieces of Zhongpin Lingshire. It really felt like a lion opened his mouth. Although, 1,000 pieces of Zhongpin Lingshire, as the master of Yuguishan, is just a little bit of ice on the iceberg, no one would like to be slaughtered. Even if Yunwu doesn't know what the spirit stone is in their mouth, they can also hear that it's extremely expensive. In fact, she didn't have much interest in what the old man said. The reason why she didn't talk about her family background was that she just wanted to see what Yuzi Gui was going to do. It's hard to figure out why he wants to take her shopping without any reason. We'll take it. I thought Yuzigi would hesitate for a while, but he didn't know where to take out a crystal stone with light blue light. Very beautiful crystal, almost more dazzling than the so-called diamond. But what surprised Yunwu was that she could feel the powerful spirit power from the spirit stone, and the subtle fluctuation of the spirit power aroused the water elements that she had been silent for a long time. That's what they call the spirit stone. Instinctively, Yunwu unconsciously reached out and took the half-palm-sized pale blue spirit stone from Yuzi Gui's hand. As soon as the spirit stone started, a faint blue light rose on the palm of the hand. It was cool and soft, as if it was quiet in the clear water. But the spiritual power could not be absorbed from her palm, like a thin layer of paper, which could be pierced by a little bit. But before Yunwu studied it carefully, the blue stone disappeared in Yunwu's hands. Haha, Master Yu is still generous. He is a very good spirit stone. It's really cheap and old. Come on, girl, put away the things. In one hand, the old man happily took the best spirit stone that appeared in his hand, and in the other hand, he handed the box with the ancient totem to Yunwu. As for Yuzigi, he was as cold as an immortal from beginning to end. He didn't speak and laugh, but he could see from it that he seemed to have a different attitude towards the girl in the human world. Of course, the elf old man is very smart, and the trickiness is not touch. Master Yu and the little girl, please take your time. I won't send you away. As soon as the deal is done, close the door. Holding the box, after walking out of the store with Yuzigi, Yunwoo was full of doubts about the closed store. But after looking at the box that had never been opened in his hand, and looking up at Yuzigi, who had no expression in front of his eyes, Yunwoo broke the silence of the two people first. "You forgot to take this." "His money, that thing is his of course, she is not interested in automatically seizing this not cheap thing. Just now you heard that it's something for women to mend their bodies. Since you are our noble guest in Yugoshin, you naturally need to bear the corresponding responsibility. If you really don't need it, you can just lose it." With that, Yuzigi continued to walk in front of the street. The pace is still slow. Yunwoo glanced at the box in his hand. Finally, with a move of his hand, the things were put into the space, and his steps followed. "When you come, you will be at ease." Since he was so generous, why did she pretend to refuse? Along the way, I met many shopkeepers or sophomores who came out of the store. They seemed to be familiar with Yuzigi, and they looked very respectful. From this, it can be seen that Yugoi Mountain seems to have some status in the fairyland. Yes, it can be called one of the best schools in the Guangming area. As the leader of that school, Yuzigui's natural status is not low. But today he took her out for a stroll, which made many people feel quite surprised and looked at. Yunwoo didn't like those, so in general, if she could ignore them automatically, she would ignore them, too lazy to pay attention to the sight. However, all the way down, Yunwoo found that as long as the shop owners or small too she had seen, 90% of them were alien, but there were few Shoshin people. I don't know why. However, Yunwoo doesn't know about the fairyland. Generally, all the sects in fairyland have their own cities, and there are almost disciples and relatives in the cities. Therefore, few people leave the sect and go to Fengshe to open a shop, except for some casual practitioners who have no family or sect. In addition, Fengshe is a place where all ethnic groups mingle in chaos. Compared with the Shoshin people, who are naturally indifferent and merciless, other ethnic groups are more humanized, good at negotiation, eloquence, and worldly sophistication. On the contrary, the Shoshin people in the fairyland seem to lack some feelings and seem to be cold and heartless, giving other people a sense of indifference. This is also why, before that old elf saw Yuzigi's cold expression, he became accustomed to it. After walking for more than an hour, the street where the main road has been extending is still endless, and the fork will appear every other section of the road. People come and go on the streets, but they don't seem too noisy as in previous lives. But there is an atmosphere. In addition to some stores nearby, there are also some people who set up stalls on the street. Most of those people are of different races, and the elves are the most. Small body, translucent wings. In addition to the first look at the elf old man, Yunwoo found that those people of the elf family have a good face, handsome men, and beautiful women, which is very pleasing. However, after walking for more than an hour, Yuzigi didn't stop. Except for occasionally turning his head to see the cloud dance behind him, he went on. He didn't go to the fork, so he went straight along the main road. Yunwoo followed for an hour. Even after waking up after 5 days in a coma, she felt full of strength and didn't feel tired, but as for walking down, it would make people feel impatient. "Master Yu, are you going to take me on my way? Or do you want to go shopping?" Cloud Dance can't help talking at last. She's here to get to know the place, not to follow him. Even if you want to see the scenery, you have to stop and have a look. Aren't you shopping now? The Jade Sun returns the eye ground to Flash to put on doubt, turn ahead to look at Cloud Dance. Well, the shopping, in his eyes is not the same as what she understands. Finally, Yunwoo didn't bother to explain too much to him, but walked directly to another fork road at the fork. When you go shopping, you naturally have to walk in the street. Although there are shops on the main road, you can best understand and hear the fairyland situation from it, or on some paths with traffic. Yuzigi looked at the Cloud Dance that suddenly walked into a small street by himself, but he didn't stop it. He even felt strange at the bottom of his heart. Behind her, deep eyes involuntarily placed on the Cloud Dance walking in front of her. In fact, Yuzi didn't leave Yugoshin very often. Even when he came out to buy things, he always solved it directly in the big shops on the main road. But also because he was the master of Yugoshan, some shop owners naturally paid more attention to him. After all, he didn't understand the so-called shopping at all. He didn't understand women at all, and he didn't know what to get along with women in the human world. This time, I said that I would take her out for a walk, but I suddenly thought of it when I was on the top of the mountain. Shopping is in accordance with his too, and from the same distance, from the main road head to the end. However, the feeling of walking behind her and strolling with her seems quite novel. At least at this time, he feels that this kind of feeling makes him comfortable. Yunwoo naturally didn't know that Yuzi had been in a complicated mood behind her. She didn't think that a Shoshin person who was high above her head would feel something about her. What's more, he didn't want to bring her out this time. He just wanted to bring her out. In Cloud Dance consciousness, he is just an enemy who wants to kill her daughter and her son, and an enemy who wants to get her child out of her mouth. Therefore, after feeling his attention, Yunwoo only thinks that he is monitoring her actions. If he didn't stop her, she would be rude. After walking into the narrow street, you can look east and west, while looking at the things peddled around, while observing where the crowd gathered gossip. I don't know if the management of the square city is too good. After walking for most of the afternoon, I almost went all over the square city, but Yunwoo still didn't find a place to listen to some news. My guest, there are excellent deer products today. It's a rare opportunity. Why don't you come in and have a taste? Just when Yunwoo was wandering aimlessly, suddenly an elf man dressed as a shop boy, smiling and flattering, blocked the way of Yunwoo. Looking in the direction pointed by the shopkeeper, in a small alley on the right, there is a relatively poor shop with a plaque of Crane Tower. My guest, it must be my first time to come here. I guess you don't know. Our Crane Tower has a time-honored brand in this city for nearly 1,000 years. It's not only cheap and good, but also rare. Our Crane Tower products must be high-quality products. Listen to the shop boy's hard-working boast. Cloud Dance has some shame. I don't know if the store has to produce high-quality Cloud Dance. However, she clearly saw that the store is old for thousands of years. The location is remote, even in the alley. Even the door of the shop is too broken to close. Although the tables and chairs inside are cleaned and complete, it is obvious that the old man is incomplete. This kind of shop is old enough. Yunwoo didn't plan to enter the shop for the shop boy's hard work, but suddenly, when the corner of the shop was covered with a familiar figure, Yunwoo turned around and walked straight to the shop in the alley. The shopkeeper thought it was his eloquence, and finally he got another guest. There was no need to hide his complacency. Haha, this month can finally open. It seems that if we want to run this broken shop, we really have to use his eloquent mouth. Looking at the guests entering the store, the second boy was filled with a sense of accomplishment. After entertaining Yunwoo, they sat down near the door, and the waiter went down to ask the old lady in the kitchen to prepare to serve. In fact, there are only 2 people in this dilapidated shop. One is an old lady in the kitchen, and the other is the boss, who is not only the shopkeeper but also the shopkeeper. Since I took over the store, I have been staying at it for nearly a month. Today, I finally opened it. I can't put out my excitement for a while. I just want to hurry up and entertain the guests, and then go to the door to find the next big fat sheep. Of course, no one else found out what the shopkeeper thought. Yuzi's thought of returning to his heart was originally in Yunwoo's complicated situation. But Yunwoo, at this time, all her thoughts fall on the man on the table on the other side of the shop. She is very careful and doesn't show too many flaws in front of Yuzigi. However, the inner restlessness was revealed in her hand holding the teacup. Because that man is the slovenly man he met in the black corner of the city. Even though they have been together for more than a month, Yunwoo still doesn't know his name. He never said anything about him, and Yunwoo wanted to ask the spy, and never asked anything. In that way, the man knew nothing about Yunwoo. But the children may be there, which is the reason why Yunwoo is not calm at this time. The man was dressed in ordinary clothes and his face was different from before, but Yunwoo could recognize it at a glance. Men's appearance is not attractive, sitting alone in the corner eating and drinking, as if they did not notice the Cloud Dance. They came in. Never let Yuzigi find out that she knows the man. Otherwise, with Yuzigi's ability, he can guess that the child must be in the man's hands. It's really easy to guess that a woman from all walks of life is in this strange world. So, Yunwoo is holding on. Soon, a chubby old lady came up with a few dishes. The table was soon filled with 3 dishes, 1 soup and 2 bowls of crystal clear rice. People who cultivate immortals also need food when they are hungry. However, different from the human world, the food in the immortal world is full of spiritual power. Oh, hello, this girl is so handsome. I saw that the old lady had just put the dishes in order. As soon as she saw the cloud dance, she looked up and exclaimed. Lewd? From a chubby mother's face, Yunwoo really saw the obscene expression. This world is really mysterious. Cloud Dance looked at the old lady. Instead of retreating, she was looking at her all the time. She was staring at her face and chest, and the black line on her forehead was straight down. Old fat aunt, I've told you many times that I'll do the rough work of delivering vegetables. Just go to the kitchen and cook more dishes. I'll take care of the guests. Just as Yunwoo was being teased, like staring at, the voice of the little brother at the door came 800 meters away. Then a gust of wind swept by. See that just chubby old aunt, have already been led by that shopkeeper to throw into the back kitchen. When he came back to the table, he said with a smile on his face, objectively, don't mind. The old fat aunt's eyes are not very good. Don't blame her. Come on, this deer should be eaten while it's hot, so it will taste better. The shop boy's flattery makes Yuzigui's eyebrows wrinkle slightly. At this time, Junior, check out. The man in the corner spoke. Yunwoo couldn't help looking at the past. If she didn't worry about Yuzigi sitting next to her, she could not help but go over and ask her children and little potato how they are now. But reason stopped her. However, when the man settled the account and got up, he raised his eyes to Yunwoo. I don't know why, Yunwoo felt at ease. Is a drop, so one eye, unexpectedly let Cloud Dance originally uneasy worry mood, so calm down. Cloud Dance watched the man leave, less worried, more rational. Although for some reason, the man just let all her worries disappear at a glance, Yunwoo knew that what she really needed to worry about at this time was not the child, but herself. Yuzigi, it's absolutely impossible to let her go. But she has no strength to escape from under his eyes, which makes Yunwoo begin to meditate. Do you know the man just now? Just as Yunwoo was lost in thought, Yuzi frowned at Yunwoo and asked. That tone, as if with affirmation. This let Cloud Dance suddenly convergence of mind, draw back the line of sight to meet his line of sight. Do you think I know him? Don't answer rhetorical questions. This ambiguous answer did not make Yuzigi dispel his doubts. Eat it. Yuzi didn't go on with that topic. Cloud Dance deeply saw Jade's son return one eye, also didn't plan to open mouth to say what, picked up chopsticks, calmly ate. In fact, the so-called fairy deer is really nothing special. Yunwoo is doubting that the so-called fairy deer is just replaced by ordinary pork. After dinner. In the face of the fawning and smiling face, Yunwoo really doesn't know whether it's a shame or a shiver. Is this really a lovely spirit full of aura in the rumor? Too bad image, too unscrupulous businessman. Seeing that Yuzigi was ready to settle the bill, the little second brother's smiling face was even more like a blooming flower, and he bowed to see her off with a smile. However, when walking out of the door of the hotel, the second brother took out a very delicate lunch box from somewhere and put it in front of Yunwoo. Girl, this is a special snack made by our fat aunt chef. She said it was a small gift for you. This she likes you so much, so you don't mind her just in polite place, just accept it, as our crane tower to your small compensation with that. The lunch box was delivered to Yunwoo. As for Yuzigi, he just took a look at the lunch box and didn't say anything. Finally, with the enthusiastic watching of the little brother, Yunwoo led the lunch box and left the street quite quickly. Sometimes, enthusiasm and flattery go too far. It's too much for people to eat. But looking at Yuzigi's face from the beginning to the end, like a fighter in indifference, Yunwoo really can't help but want to give him a thumbs up. This is the real facial paralysis. After the stroll, almost as before, there are Ware Path, shopping market, but Yunwoo still did not find a place to hear the news. This can only explain one point, that is, the management of this city is really good. And I haven't seen that man since I left the shop. Yunwoo didn't know that the man appeared in front of her just to make her feel at ease. Or he has some follow-up moves, but for the time being, she has no other action. I think it's almost done. It's time to go back. Yuzigi looked at Yunwoo and said suddenly. Yunwoo nodded. Leaving the gate of Fengshe City, they were almost the same as when they came. They were still walking towards Luofeng Mountain. However, not long after leaving the city gate, Yunwoo saw several people flying in the air with very strange instruments. Seeing that Yuzigi didn't plan to explain, Yunwoo took it as if he didn't see it. After you go back, Miss Yun will live in the Cloud Hall. If you have a clear idea, you can come to me at any time. On the way back to Luofeng Mountain, Yuzi said faintly. However, if there are people who return to the mountain at this time, their eyes will fall. Cloud Palace. Yunwoo doesn't know, but who doesn't know the whole Yugoshin people? Yundian is not only the main hall where Yuzigi, the patriarch, lives, but also the temple where Yugoshin stipulates that no one can live except the patriarch. But this Jade's son return but let Cloud Dance move in Cloud Hall, this is not small. Of course, at this time Cloud Dance were no. Half an hour after the night came, the two figures entered the barrier of Yugoshin again. After a stick of incense, Yuzi returns to the Imperial Sword and flies back to the gate of Yundian with Yunwoo. However, just as Yuzi Guigang appeared, a few hurried figures came from outside a corridor, and his face was in a hurry. The patriarch, please. Elder. Yuzi's face frowned slightly, but generally, the elder would never be so anxious to find himself unless something big happened. Looking at the silent Cloud Dance all the way, Yuzigi waved to one of the disciples and ordered them to take Miss Yun to the east chamber of the Cloud Hall to have a rest and let the maid be careful. Several disciples smell speech, Chi face appeared surprise, as if for a time did not respond. Cloud Palace. Return the east chamber of Cloud Hall. But under the sharp and deep sight of Yuzi Gui, several disciples soon recovered, repressed their inner shock, and bowed respectfully to answer. Yes, Lord. Later, Yuzigi left quickly, leaving only one disciple, and the others followed. The disciple, who had just been waved to stay, looked back and said to Yunwoo with respect and a special look, Miss Yun, this way, please. But just now those people's reaction and the mood fluctuation, the Cloud Dance all sees in the eye. Is there any mystery in this Cloud Hall? Otherwise, why do these people have such strange expressions? Yunwoo knew that he couldn't get any answers from these disciples, so he didn't ask. He followed the disciple into the so-called Cloud Hall. Cloud Hall seems to be located higher than other halls, and its layout seems to be more unique than other halls. For example, as soon as you enter the upper hall of the main hall, you will see a statue high above the main hall. The statue is very strange. It's not a human figure. It's a human figure but not a human figure. It looks like a beast's head but a human head. Behind it is a pair of folded wings and a pair of arched claws. It's obvious that man is not man and beast is not beast. However, if the statue can appear here, and it is also worshipped by the man who returns to the mountain, there may be some origin, or the so-called gods, of the people in the fairyland. After all, the world has been so mysterious, the existence of gods cannot be surprising. But there is only one thing Yunwoo can't understand. If this Cloud Hall is really a place to worship gods, what does Yuzigi mean by arranging her here? Standing in front of the huge and powerful statue, Yunwoo involuntarily fell into a vacuum. In my mind, I guess, but my eyes are on the statue's eyes. Dark eyes, in the hazy face does not appear very abrupt, even can say, as long as you see the whole strange image of it, all people will naturally ignore the only clearly visible eyes on the hazy face. It's clear. It's really clear. It's really strange that such a pair of black eyes can be carved on a statue. And it is because of the sense of this strange, Cloud Dance can't help but continue to staring at that pair of clear, almost confusing eyes. Confusing. 3 words suddenly appear in my mind, which makes Yunwoo's body tremble. Yes, I am confused. Those eyes have a strange light that can confuse people, just like, bang, there was a sudden crash. Miss Yun, are you okay? The disciple, who had stopped and turned around, looked at the Cloud Dance who suddenly fell back and asked. However, Yunwoo's face was very pale, as if he was suddenly frightened. Yes, it's frightening. And the shock came from the eyes of the statue. A pair of strange eyes, as if still alive. Too weird, the feeling of terror has been around the heart of Cloud Dance for a long time. And in my mind, I can't forget for a long time. Just when she was staring at those eyes, they suddenly turned and giggled mysteriously. From a pair of eyes, see the smile? It really can't be organized in any words to describe the horror of being scared. After living for 2 generations, Yunwoo fell down for the first time. Nothing, but can I ask what this statue is? Cloud Dance gathered the fear of his eyes and asked the disciple from the ground. She didn't dare to look up at those eyes. She always felt that they were looking at her at this time. It's so scary. Goosebumps are coming out one by one. The disciple looked up at the powerful statue and the pale Cloud Dance. It seemed that he suddenly understood something. It turns out that the Cloud Girl was scared by their holy carving. There is no scorn, but there is a smile. The story of the integration of the Cloud Dance Girl and the Wood Spirit has spread all over the clan. Naturally, the disciple envies her, but unexpectedly, the girl who has integrated the Wood Spirit is so timid. This is the guardian spirit of our sect. Since the establishment of Yuguishin, the guardian spirit has existed. However, after that period of darkness and chaos, the guardian spirit transformed the body into this statue and fell asleep. The Cloud Hall was built to guard the position of the body of the Holy Spirit. According to the rules of the ancestral gate of the past dynasties, only the patriarch of the ancestral gate of the past dynasties can be qualified to live in the temple as the residence of the patriarch. But today, their master arranged Yunwoo to enter the Cloud Hall. No wonder the disciples were shocked. Guard the Holy Spirit. Dark chaos. Is the body a statue? Cloud Dance was quite surprised to hear the information from the words. Miss Yun, the East Chamber is here. Seeing that he said a lot, the disciple quickly closed his mouth and led the way, avoiding Yunwoo's questioning. Seeing this, Yunwoo naturally knows that it's impossible to continue to ask deeply from him. East Chamber, is there anything special? Yunwoo followed, scanning the surrounding environment, and asked casually. The disciple didn't want to say more, but it seemed that this question didn't involve the secrets of the sect, so he gave a respectful answer. The Lord lives in the South Wing Room, the West Wing Room is a special alchemy room, only the East Wing Room is guest rooms. After a pause, the word, guest room, came out. In fact, the East Chamber has always been empty, not really the so-called guest room, but the East Chamber has always been default as the residence of the master's wife. This acquiescence also tells us that Yugishin's former masters had a partner. The wife of the patriarch lived in the East Wing Room. As time goes by, the East Wing Room naturally defaults to the residence of the wife of the patriarch of previous dynasties. No matter whether the current patriarch will make friends with others or not, the East Wing Room will be carefully taken care of by the maid every once in a while. Yuzigi let Yunwoo live in Yundian and Dongxiangfang, which is self-evident. In this way, why the disciples were shocked, they were totally surprised. A guest room? After hearing the words, Yunwoo picked her eyebrows and let her live in the guest room behind the sacred beast hall. Is this too much for face? But the disciple said so. Even if she knew what he said was false, she didn't ask. Soon, the disciple took Yunwoo to the East Chamber. Miss Yun, take a rest first. The maid will come soon, and the disciple will step down first. Then the disciple left without permission. Yunwoo is a little speechless. Is she a monster? After the disciple left, only Yunwoo was left standing in the room. There is no candle in the room, but it is directly illuminated by the night pearl. The light is soft and bright, and every corner of the whole room can be clearly illuminated. Looked at the arrangement of the room, then walked into the bedroom. At the same time, the two maids who were sent also arrived. "Girl, do you want to take a bath first?" One of the maids bowed her head and asked Yunwoo respectfully. Yunwoo turned around and glanced at them, then nodded, "Okay." "How did you spend the 5 days in a coma?" Yunwoo has no impression, but after walking all day, you feel sticky and uncomfortable. It's best to take a bath. After receiving the order, the maid went to the compartment on the other side of the bedroom, where there was a special bath pool. "Girl, this is the tonic stewed by the patriarch. Do you want to drink it after bathing? Or now?" The other hand held the respectful opening of the tray of the stew cup. People here don't seem to have too much emotion. Yunwoo glanced at the stew cup in her hand. There was an undercurrent in her eyes, but she covered it quickly and said, "Put it down, I'll drink it by myself later, and tell your master, thank you." Yes, soon, the maid who was ready for the bathroom came out and asked Yunwoo to take a bath. Yunwoo, who doesn't like to have people wait on her to take a bath, let them all go out. The bathroom in the compartment is very spacious. Moreover, the hot water seems to come from a hot spring in the mountain. The temperature is just right, and it also has a very strange smell of medicine. Cloud Dance is soaking in the pool. If you relax your whole body, you can feel the warm water in the pool, which can help relieve fatigue quickly. The guest room of the East Wing room is not at all low grade. After taking a bath, Yunwoo sent the two maids who were waiting at the door and wanted to wait on them. Yunwoo then lay down in bed. But after going to bed, Yunwoo did not fall asleep, but sat down and began to check his body. "When I woke up on the roof this morning, I felt something wrong with my body. If I didn't worry about UZGUI, I would have wanted to see what happened to my body. Look inside the body." Cloud danced but momentary leng for a while, immediately, the eye ground flashed a tiny startle. What's going on? How could her viscera be entangled with a green vine-like thing? Can be seen down along the inside. When you see the green halo around his dantian, Cloud Dance's eyes changed into a little surprised doubt. What about the roots that originally rooted in her elixir? The willow root, which had taken root in her abdomen, is now gone, but the green halo in the elixir field is nourishing her whole body. As for the green vine on the viscera, it seems that it began to spread from the green halo on the dantian. Is that the root of the tree mutated again? Since the branch inserted into her abdomen, shrank into her abdomen, Yunwoo was afraid of the branch. Because she didn't know what it was. Even Bai Lao didn't know that the unknown was the most terrible thing. At the beginning, there was a change in the root of the tree. Later, I don't know why there was no movement. Now there is such a change. Is it a blessing or a curse? However, Yuzigi seems to say that her 5 days of deep sleep were in the unity of wood and spirit. The combination of wood and spirit? Muling. Can we say that the root rooted in her elixir field is the wood spirit under the jurisdiction of Yuzi? Yunwoo is not sure, but if it is true as Yuzigi said, it should not be difficult to find out. Repeatedly explore their own body. For the time being, there is no terrible hidden danger, but seems to have increased some strange power. Cloud Dance a little relieved. At this time, Yunwoo thought of what kind of tonic box Yuzi bought in the hands of the elf old man when he was in Fengshe, and what kind of food box he gave to the wretched old lady. Both boxes came from the space and were placed on the side of the bed. That elf old man can see at a glance that I have had a baby, and also said that this thing is a tonic for my physical cultivation. I don't know what it is, and whether it can really have any benefits. Cloud Dance took the simple palm-size box and muttered to himself. In Fengshe, although Yunwoo didn't show too much difference, it didn't mean that she ignored what the old man said. If, as the old man said, this thing is good for her health, how can she really refuse it? You know, the disappearance of her strength for some reason has always been a worry in her heart, and I don't know whether it is the sequela of having children. Girl, the meal is ready. Would you like to send it in? But at this time, the maid came from the door respectfully and loudly. Yunwoo didn't want to eat, but later she asked the maid to bring the food in. Just want to open the hands of the box again into space, Yunwoo sat down from the bed. The two maids, carrying plates, went into the bedroom and put the food on the table in the bedroom. Girl, the tonic was cold just now. It was just hot. Before dinner, another stew is served. This reminds her to drink tonic again and again. It can be seen that it must be Yuzigi's order. Well, you go out. When they don't like to have a meal, someone is staring at them. Yunwoo waves them away. But the two maids did not go out, but stepped back a little to the door of the bedroom. Seeing this, Yunwoo frowned. Do you want to stay for dinner? Cloud danced pick eyebrow of looking at them, the tone didn't cool down. After the two maids looked at each other, Chi bowed his head respectfully and said, the patriarch told me to be careful with the girl behind me. Please don't embarrass me. Close surveillance. Cloud Dance Willow eyebrow wrinkled for a while, inexplicably smile, just, smile can't reach the fundus of the eye, in this case, then you at will, but, when I eat, don't like someone standing at the door. As soon as the words of Cloud Dance came down, the two maids retreated to the side of the bedroom and waited, so quiet that they couldn't even hear the sound of breathing. In this regard, Cloud Dance naturally cannot say anything more. As a matter of fact, Yuzigi would send someone to monitor himself. On the contrary, it was within the scope of speculation. Otherwise, it would be abnormal. What kind of tonic is this? Cloud Dance looked at the ice stew cup, picked up the spoon. Xiao looked at a spoon and asked. She knows a lot about pharmacology, but she can't tell what it is in the crystal clear white. Miss Hui, this is a stew mainly made of xianqiao, which is specially used to recuperate the postpartum body. As for the material of fairy grass, the maid obviously ignored it. Fairy grass. Are the medicinal materials here different from those in the human world? Cloud Dance drank a mouthful. The entrance lubricates. After swallowing, the body suddenly rose a warm current. It's really a good thing. Yes, all the herbs in the fairyland are full of aura. Although there are some top-quality herbs in the human world, most of them are not as good as a low-grade herb in the fairyland. So, isn't the fairy grass in the fairyland a very precious thing? In fact, not all the immortal grasses in the fairyland are very precious, and they are also classified. The immortal grasses that the girl drinks now are the ones that we grow in our family. So it is. I don't know where the herbs you planted are. I've been back to the mountain for a long time, but it seems that I've never seen a medicine garden. Yunwoo put down the stew cup and turned to look at the two maids with a smile. The ladies looked at each other and saw hesitation in each other's eyes. What? Is this also your secret in Yugui Mountain? Yuzigi said, I'm a distinguished guest here. It seems that next time I see him, I'll ask him myself. Yunwoo took back her sight and ate with chopsticks like she didn't care much. The maid, who called herself a slave, hesitated for a moment, but when she heard Yunwoo's words, she answered, there is a special place in the medicine garden of the clan. Usually, people in the clan can rarely go. If you want any fairy herbs, you just need to give orders, or go to the medicine hall of the clan. Yunwoo lives in the east chamber of the Cloud Hall. Even if they are worried about saying something they shouldn't, they have to take into account that she may become the wife of the patriarch. Medicine Hall. When she was in the Black Point area, she had heard that the Yuguishin sect was divided into several main halls, each of which had an elder. I don't know who is in charge of the medicine hall. Elder. Elder? Yunwoo was also very impressed with the elder, and the most impressive was his eloquence. However, if the medicine hall is under the management of the elder, it means that the medicine garden is also in the hands of the elder. If you want to make a decision on the medicine garden of this sect, it's impossible. Where is your lord? Cloud Dance asked. The slave replied respectfully, the lord has something to do with the medicine hall of the elder. What's the matter, girl? Do you need to inform the patriarch? No, I don't have time. It's no trouble for him. You take all the food. I'm a little tired and need to rest. If you really want to wait, just stay outside the bedroom. When you go out, close the bedroom door. After that, Yunwoo got up and went to the bed. The slave and the other maid said nothing more. They packed up quickly and took them to the door. After the bedroom door was closed, the simple box just appeared in Yunwoo's hand. Without hesitation, he opened it directly. But Yunwoo didn't expect that at the moment of opening the box, a refreshing fragrance filled the heart. The box was forced to close. The smell from the box was cut off. Yunwoo's face was inexplicably surprised and excited. Fragrance, just take a breath of that fragrance. Cloud Dance feels that the green halo in the Dantian field is spinning away, and it seems that there is something loose in my mind. And in that box, it's not an imaginary herbal supplement, it's just a pill. The fragrance is just from the pill. If this is the tonic that the old elf said, then this tonic is really a rare good thing. Although we can't see what level the pill is, Yunwoo subconsciously feels that it is absolutely good for itself. However, her current state is not suitable for swallowing the pill. Back on the bed, Yunwoo immediately sat up, began to familiar with the operation of Dantian, began to run all his meridians, adjust to the best state. Medicine Hall. After hearing the notice, Yuzigi rushed to the medicine hall. But before he stepped into the medicine hall, he seemed to feel something. His face suddenly changed color, and his figure suddenly disappeared in the gate of the medicine hall. Ben's followers saw this and quickly followed in. What's going on? As soon as he entered the inner courtyard of the medicine hall, Yuzigi stopped and looked at the courtyard full of green vines and thorns. There are many disciples around trying to cut down the green vines of the growing thorns with their spiritual power, but the more they cut down, the faster they spread and regenerate. And the elder's old face, like a black pot, stood on the side, shouting and commanding the action of the disciples. When he saw Yuzi coming back, the elder said with a solemn face and full of bitterness, "Master, where did you take that girl? I feel that if I call that girl over, it's going to be a mess here." Cloud Dance. After hearing the words, Yuzigi frowned at the green vine that was still growing. What's the matter? What happened? This question, I also want to ask that girl. I've lived so many years, but it's the first time I've seen how to make people headache. Elder, if you know, it can't be the current situation. Is this Cloud Dance left behind? When Yunwoo woke up this morning, the original package and the green vines around her retreated. At that time, Yuzi didn't feel anything different. After all, the unity of wood and spirit is formed according to everyone's situation, and there is no fixed mode to open. But now this state has never happened before. Besides that girl, who else can she be? You don't know, Master. This thing is so immortal that it has ruined all the fairy grass in the back garden of the medicine hall. I'm so angry that I want to burn it with a fire. As soon as the elder said it, his face turned red with anger, and he almost didn't blow his beard and stare. In fact, when he saw the green vine growing up in his fairy grass garden, he wanted to cut it off. But he thought that after he made his move, the green vine was just a small group. It was like being beaten with chicken blood. Suddenly, the whole fairy grass garden was destroyed. Later, when he was annoyed, he also let people use fire directly, but this thing, not afraid of fire at all, grew up happily in the fire. This makes the elder angry and annoyed. At the same time, he has a big head. Even, during the period, other elders were invited to come over, but each elder tried his best to destroy this thing. On the contrary, the longer it was, the happier it was. Finally, the elder asked someone to ask the master to bring the cloud dancing girl. But the disciple came back and said that the master and the girl had disappeared, and the bodyguard who was in charge of the border barrier heard that at noon he felt that the master had left with the girl. At this juncture, the patriarch left Yugoshin with the girl. The elder was so angry that he wanted to bring the girl back in person. ZZ. The cutting of the sword and the rebirth of the green vine are very spectacular in the whole inner courtyard. But Yuzigi also knew that this situation could not be allowed to develop. Although the fairy grass garden in the medicine hall was only planted by the elder himself, those varieties of fairy grass were also extremely precious. The green vine destroyed most of the inner courtyard of the medicine hall and seemed to be extending outward. Go to the east chamber of the cloud hall and invite Miss Yun over. Yuzigi told one of his disciples. Yes, the disciple left quickly. But the elder suddenly stopped commanding, turned his head and looked at Yuzigi in shock. Lord, did you arrange that girl to go to the cloud hall? East wing. What does this represent? I'm afraid no one in Yuguishan will know. At that time, you told me that there would be a love disaster when I hit. Now that I can't avoid it, I choose to face it directly. When the elder said that to him, Yuzi didn't think so. After all, he never had feelings in his heart. How can he understand what feelings are? How can we understand the so-called love robbery? But now, he has always been a pure-hearted man, but after he met the woman named Yunwoo, he slowly raised his complex emotions that he could not master. Even now he doesn't quite understand the real meaning of love and affection, but at least now he understands one thing. Cloud dance is his predestined robbery, love robbery. Can't hide, also don't want to hide, in this case, it's better to comply with their own heart want to do. Looking at Yuzi Gui, who is so reasonable but not half paranoid, the elder wanted to stop him, but he got stuck. On the road of cultivating immortals, if you want to break through to Wuxian and enter into Wuxian, you must experience some disasters. There are all kinds of robberies, but the path chosen by each cultivator is different. Yuzigi has been known as a natural cultivator since childhood. Ling Zhen is the most promising cultivator to break through the martial god. If he can successfully break through this disaster, he may be able to enter the martial god at one stroke. As long as you enter into the cultivation of the martial god, you will not be far away from their bodies. That is the dream goal of all the cultivation of the martial god. However, in the past tens of thousands of years, few people in the whole fairyland have successfully achieved it. Love robbery is better than death robbery, right? Elder looking at Jade's son return, in the heart dark sigh of mutter since you have decided, I can only support you, but I'm afraid that girl is not easy to deal with. After all, she is not only the mother of the son of light, but also the mother of the son of darkness. Yuzigi nodded, but a beautiful and evil face flashed in his mind. That man, perhaps is his real obstacle. Different from this side, the cloud dance on the other side is very comfortable. After dredging the meridians, Yunwoo swallowed the pill. At the entrance of the pill, the fragrance suddenly becomes introverted. And the whole body seems to be wrapped up by something warm, like soaking in a hot spring, making people feel extremely relaxed and comfortable. Ding ding. In her mind, it seemed that something was beginning to tinkle, and it felt like something was knocking on the door in the sea of her consciousness. Chaos Palace. Yes, it's the Chaos Hall. Since it gradually feels that its ability has disappeared, Yunwoo can't enter the Chaos Hall, and its consciousness is gradually blurred. Yunwoo has some worries in her heart. If Chaos Hall disappears completely, what will she do? The consequence of relying too much on Chaos Palace is to make Cloud dance flustered and disoriented for a while. That's not a good feeling. But now, she felt that there was something knocking on the door of Chaos Hall, and the door began to loosen gradually. It is believed that the Hall of Chaos will be reopened soon. However, after 1 or 2 months, Yunwoo was not excited by this sudden surprise. Although there was joy, it didn't have the original emotion of excitement and surprise. People really can't rely too much on one thing. Otherwise, when the dependence is formed and the thing you have been relying on suddenly disappears, the consequences of helpless panic are enough to kill people. Pills in the body, not completely absorbed, but divided into a little bit in the nourishment. According to this speed, Cloud Dance estimates that it will take at least a month to absorb the pill completely. Cluck. There was a knock at the door. Miss, the Lord has something urgent to ask you. A man's deep, cold voice came. Then, it seemed that I heard the door outside the house open, and the slave came to the bedroom door and knocked on the door. After hearing this, Yunwoo did not respond immediately, but adjusted her internal breathing. Pills in the body seems to nourish very orderly, do not need her to guide, this is better. Wait at the door. Half ring, Cloud Dance, cold voice just sounded. The little slave and another maid at the door seemed to be relieved. They turned to inform the disciple who came outside. After waiting for about half a candle, the bedroom door finally opened. Has changed a light blue waist skirt, elegant with a hint of belonging to the charm of becoming a woman, skin like snow muscle, beautiful face does not smile to give a hint of cold. This woman, really beautiful, even women, cannot help but secretly envious exclamation. Let's go. The disciple led the way to the medicine hall. When Yunwoo appeared in the medicine hall, the huge green vine that surrounded most of the medicine hall suddenly stopped any action. Even the sharp barbs on the green vine suddenly and quickly gathered up and became a completely harmless green vine. This sudden change made those disciples who were busy chopping, suddenly stunned. What's going on? The girl must have come. The elder couldn't resist a loud voice. His precious medicine garden was destroyed, and most of the inner courtyard of the medicine hall became a broken house. The elder was full of fire, but he couldn't talk to that girl. Don't mention that wench to know this stubble first, just depend on this strong and strange green vine is really that wenches would work properly to melt, he also can't toward her to lose temper. That girl is so unusual. If they can be absorbed into the sect, all the problems will be solved. When Yunwoo was led into the backyard of the medicine hall by his disciples, he was surprised to see that. I saw that this morning, it was still a garden full of elegant backyard. At this time, it was completely covered with green vines, and there were many disciples standing beside it, sweating with machetes. The ground was littered with chopped green vines. Miss Yunwoo, you're here. Hurry up and take it back. The elder changed his so-called dignity and solemnity, and said in a big voice that he had a headache when he saw the cloud dance. But since he became an elder, he has never been so embarrassed. At this time, he really has no good temper. My stuff? Why doesn't she know what she has? The doubt in Cloud Dance's eyes made the elder's mouth draw a little. This is the difference between the human world and the fairyland. After the integration of wood spirit, which fairyland people will not know to take back their own wood spirit into the body. Can see this wench, completely of face don't understand of appearance, let originally still want to find some excuse to get angry, all can't find a reason. Alright, if you really want to argue with this girl, you must be angry. Hurry up and come to the front hall. The elder brushed his hand, with a look of great sadness. After looking at her, he shook his head and turned away. Before he left, he also took away those silent disciples around him. Suddenly, there was only Yuzi left in the courtyard of Tsangi. Yunwoo is really confused. What's the situation? This may be the result of your own fusion. In general, after the fusion, the wood spirit should automatically enter the body, but you are special. It seems that the more you come into contact with her, the more special you will find her. Another mewling. Do you think this big group of vines is my wood spirit? What exactly is mewling? Cloud Dance asked. Jade's son returned to see an eye, at this time that matchless clever green rattan, the corner of the mouth slightly raises, smile not smile, this problem, believe you will understand oneself very soon. The cloud dances with a speechless face. But also turned to look at the yard occupied more than half of the green vines, this is her original body branches. How does it feel like it's changed? What's more, how can she accept such a huge one? Whoosh! All of a sudden, there was a slight swish sound in the quiet courtyard, like a snake gliding through the grass. Then, Yunwoo saw with his own eyes how the large group of vines condensed into a small section, and then how to flexibly slide on her wrist to become a crystal clear green bracelet. At the moment when the bracelet was formed, Yunwoo obviously felt that some kind of vacancy in her body was finally completed, and the green halo in Dantian ran along her wrist into the bracelet. Mulongteng. This is the name of the green cane just now, and this name is suddenly formed in my mind. At this time, the general information about Mu Ling began to emerge in my mind. This is Cloud Dance eyes slightly opened for a while, heart beat fast half beat. Tornado. It's a message from the tornado. Since Chaos Hall can't enter, the tornado is quiet. At this time, the tornado is moving. So, is Chaos Hall also quiet? However, Cloud Dance secretly tried, and found that Chaos Hall still can't enter. Forget it, don't be greedy. Now that she can recover, she has more advantages at this time. What's the matter? Yuzi's eyes stare at Yunwoo deeply, and a touch of exploration sweeps her whole body. Just now, he seemed to feel a strange aura fluctuation from her. But, that kind of fluctuation is fleeting, let him have no time to capture. Do you have any other secrets about her? It's okay. I'm just a little tired. I want to go back to sleep instead of going to the front hall. With that, Yunwoo turned around and left. As for Yuzuki's reaction, Yunwoo doesn't want to pay attention to it. She just wants to go back and see if she can get some information from the Dragon Scroll. The Hall of Medicine Hall. What about the girl? Looking at Yuzi Gui who came in, the elder looked behind him, looking for Yunwoo. She went back. Yuzuki simply replied. What? Didn't I just tell her to take the vine and come to the front hall? Did she really turn a deaf ear to what I said? Big 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 voice. I can't blame him. Who made him angry today? There was no one else in the hall except the elder, so Yuzuki sat on the chair silently, thinking about something. The elder responded and frowned at him. What's the matter? Have you found anything? Yuzi didn't answer immediately, but was thinking about something. The elder knew his expression very well. He was thinking about how to speak, so he waited patiently. In a few minutes, Yuzi Gui said the suspicion in his heart, just now, I felt a different aura wave from her, but it disappeared too fast. Different aura fluctuations? What's the difference? Tell me, elder, some of them are interested. There must be something special to make their masters say different. It's very pure. It can almost be said that even the Lingquan in our Yugui mountain can't be compared. In fact, in addition to pure, Yuzi felt a very strange feeling. But that kind of feeling, can't use words to describe, so, didn't say. What, can't even compare with our spirit spring? How is that possible? It's just a little girl from the human world. The elder is unbelievable. If she is just a girl in the world, how can she become the mother of the son of light and darkness? Yuzi's point is clear. If Yunwoo is really an ordinary woman, how can she give birth to the son of light and darkness? How can they escape so long under their eyelids? Even, how can he fall into that strange and complicated emotion? Smell speech, big elder, this just astringent in the heart that don't want to believe of emotion. Yes, if she is really an ordinary wench, how can make the whole Jade Return Mountain chicken fly dog jump? Well, what are you going to do with her? The son of light must be brought back, but the son of darkness can't stay. As their mother, no matter what they do, Yunwoo's dissatisfaction will surely be aroused. Jade's son returned, but before these questions arranged her to live in the Cloud Temple, the big elder for a moment also some don't know what plan he has after all. Just for the time being. As for the whereabouts of the son of light, I think I have some eyes. The Jade son return face has no facial expression to answer away. When will you go and get the son of light back? There is not much time left for the day when the Dark Emperor comes. Tomorrow. Good. Then I'll have the Hall of the Son of Light sorted out all night. Well. Chaos Hall has not been opened, but the information in the Dragon Scroll can be found. Fairyland is a continent almost made up of people who cultivate immortals. And there are two factions in this fairyland, that is, darkness and light. The two sects are divided into the light area in the south, the dark area in the north, and the two sects are separated by a forest of elves. The fairy forest is the place with the most aura in the fairyland, but it is also the most dangerous place. As for how dangerous it is, the only special thing is that the fairy forest is a unique place where darkness and light can coexist. The east of the elf forest is the orc area, and the west is a sea of mermaids. Of course, In addition to these 2 schools and 3 ethnic groups, there are many ethnic groups that live in this fairyland continent. However, from the information in the Dragon Scroll, Yunwu found that the elves seem to be the most ideal place. Yes, Yunwu wants to know about fairyland, and it wants to consider the future. She didn't know how to enter the fairyland, so she didn't know how to leave the fairyland for the time being. If she wants to escape the pursuit of those people before leaving the fairyland, she needs to find a place to stay temporarily. A place where people don't find her children special. The spirit forest is a place where light and dark power coexist. That place is definitely the most suitable place to settle down. With consideration, Yunwu naturally wants to escape. However, the clan's surveillance of her is so close to that of others. How can we get rid of those surveillance? And if there is no surveillance, how can she get away from the old man and Yuzi? In the beginning, they could escape from here, except by hiding beads. I'm afraid they didn't guard against her at first, but now it's different. What to do? What to do? Sitting on the bed with a lot of worries, he set up countless escape plans, but they were all rejected. The time of the night passed like that. The rise of the morning sun, with a clear stream of heat into the body. But for the body to absorb the benefits of a little nourishment pills, at this time Cloud Dance did not start the joy. Night sleepless face is still distressed, brow deep lock. Subconsciously turned some stiff body, but suddenly swept the corner of the eye to the lunch box at the head of the bed. That's what happened after the Cloud Dance came out last night, and I've always forgotten. I don't know what's inside, but after a night, I guess it doesn't taste very good. Although so think, but Cloud Dance but still take that lunch box, open. But at the moment of opening the box, Yunwu's hand was frozen for a moment, and then he pulled out the cloth wrapped with a plate of cakes in the lunch box. The cloth was nothing but a small belly pocket that she had torn from her own clothes and made for her little son. In front of Yuzigi, Yunwu gave her such a big note, and she began to appreciate the paralyzed man. When the sun rises tomorrow morning, go to the second training ground in the north-south direction. A line of small words, it's on the small belly pocket. The sun rises tomorrow morning. Cloud Dance quickly put the small belly bag into the space, got up, went to the window, reached out to open the window. The cool breeze in the early morning brings a sense of comfort. However, when Yunwu looked up and saw that the sun had already appeared from the east, he turned around and walked towards the bedroom door without any hesitation. Girl, the washing utensils are ready. The little slave respectfully bowed his head and said to Yunwu, who came out of the bedroom. Cloud Dance stopped. Yes, even if the heart again anxious, now is not the time to show the horse's feet. So, under the service of the little slave, Yunwu washed up and changed into a more ordinary white dress, and then walked out of the Cloud Hall with the little slave. It's said that what kind of training ground do you have here, and your disciples seem to have the habit of morning exercises. I wonder if you can show me around. Cloud Dance turned to see the little slave behind him and asked lazily. The slave nodded and asked, which training ground do you want to go to? You have a lot of training grounds here. Yunwu is curious. Xiaonu said, there are 4 training grounds in Zhongmen, which are divided into east, west, north and south. East, west, north, south. East, west, north, south. There are so many. I don't know. Are all the 4 training grounds the same size? Or are there big and small ones? Yunwu seems very curious. Yes, it's the biggest training ground in the east, the second in the south, the third in the west and the fourth in the north, so it is. Let's go to the training ground in the south. The Cloud dances like a random choice. Xiaonu smelled that the training ground in the south was the farthest from their current position, but suddenly he thought of something, and his words were silent. In the Cloud dance line of sight, cleverly walked forward, leading the way forward. So easy to talk. The Cloud dance star's eyes flashed and looked at the maid in front of him. He always felt that something was wrong today, but he couldn't tell exactly what was wrong. Forget it, as long as you can leave this ghost place, I don't want to do anything else for the moment. In the early morning, there were many disciples in the Yugoshin sect, and many of them had bodyguards and maids walking around. So, along the way to her secretly cast over the line of sight, is not a lot. In fact, there is something Yunwoo wants to understand. Those people just look at her, but why do they always have a strange look in their eyes? But fortunately, although those people peeped at her strangely, no one came to stop her, which was quite comfortable for Yunwoo. Under the reminder of the cloud dance, the little slave led the way very quickly. So it took about half an hour, and finally came to the second training ground in the south. Cloud Dance looked up at the sky of the sun, has some high, do not know, have missed the time. Although in the heart some worry, but on the face actually does not have any one silk unusual, the star eye starts to sweep in that just like the football field training ground. They are all in white and pure robes. They are divided into several parts. The emergence of Cloud Dance, in addition to the attention of a few people outside, did not cause too much attention. Girl, this is the south training ground. What else do you need to prepare for you? Looking at Yunwoo, Xiaonu asked respectfully. It's a long way to go. Some of them have drunk. Go and pour me a glass of water. Girl, please wait a moment. With that, the little slave turned and left. For a moment, there was no one else around Yunwoo. This was the first time after entering the sect. Do you think she won't run away before this training ground? Whether it is or not, Yunwoo is a little relieved. Then, naturally, she looks around and wants to see some hope in it. Under the sun, although it is still morning, but the clouds inexplicably some sweat came out. Damn, can't that paralyzed man wait to go? Almost all the people in the training ground have been swept one by one, but I still don't see the familiar figure. As time went by, Cloud Dance began to be impatient. Miss, please come to the Lord. At this time, a female voice came from behind. Cloud Dance turns around, is a maid, however, the height is too tall, moreover, the female characteristic is very obvious, otherwise Cloud Dance must think this is the facial paralysis male easy to look. Dispelling the speculation in his heart, Yunwoo's eyes were a little gloomy. What's the matter with him looking for me? Girl, this way, please. The maid did not answer. What can Yuzi do for her in the morning? Cloud Dance frowned, but still followed up. But while walking, Yunwoo soon found something wrong. Because the way that the maid took was not to return to the main hall, but to walk more and more. Even, the wind seems to start whistling up. After a stick of incense. Saw saw. The wind, more and more big, the path began to be remote. What's more strange is that since I followed the maid, the people around me seem to be more and more invisible. Now, they are completely invisible. Of course, the one who leads the way is one. Where are you taking me? Cloud Dance finally can't help asking. Find a way out. The maid's voice suddenly changed to a man's. Cloud Dance pupil micro shrink for a while, but soon recovered, only eyes slightly surprised looking at the front concave convex slender figure. Can you still be a woman? The surprise in the words is self-evident. At this time, the figure of the maid who led the way in front of me suddenly flickered. In the blink of an eye, there was no woman in front of me. Familiar with the ordinary face, although dressed neatly, but the whole body is emitting a very strange sloth. Except for the man with facial paralysis, I really can't find a man with this characteristic. I really can't see that you are quite capable. Even the clan of Yugoshin is free to come and go. This sentence is not flattery, but has a trace of admiration. But on second thought, this man can have this ability, it is estimated that the future is not small. Then what's the purpose of his helping her again and again? For the kids. Now the child is in his hands, there is no need to save her. But if it's not for the children, what else can he do with her? I can't guess. This man, from the beginning, was completely unpredictable. The cliff in front is the only place to leave this clan. The man walking in front said without looking back. Cliff. No wonder the wind is so strong around here. However, the wind is so strong before we get to the edge of the cliff. What's the situation when we get to the edge of the cliff? And Cloud Dance soon saw that. Whizzing wind, blowing the high and steep mountain wall, all around the vegetation silent, the wind blowing on the face, as if by a sharp blade, can cause blood dripping. Not close to the steep cliff, Yunwoo was caught unprepared and cut several big holes on his body. The faint smell of blood soon disappeared in the wind. However, today's white clothes, which are specially changed to reduce the sense of existence, are dyed red in several places, which makes them seem inexplicably depressed and enchanting. Keep up with me. If you go wrong, you'll find yourself buried here. The man just stopped for a while, turned his head and looked at the Cloud Dance without expression, and said it coldly. Yunwoo looked at the man who was not affected by the wind at all. He was a little depressed when he saw that he was covered with black silk blowing like a chicken nest. This is the difference of strength. But for the sake of his own small life, Yunwoo is still very obedient, following his steps and following him step by step. Whizzing. Tear. The wind roared fiercely in her ears, but it didn't really approach her. However, his white skirt flew out of the bounds, but was mercilessly torn. So when he got to the edge of the cliff, Yunwoo's white dress was as ragged as a beggar. Fortunately, he still wore pants under the skirt, otherwise he would suffer a great loss. Close your eyes and hold me tight. The wind with that familiar male voice came from my ear. Then, the waist was immediately pressed into the arms by a force, the body jumped, and the feeling of falling quickly came. Buzz. Different from the previous whizzing sound of the blade cutting through the air, it was replaced by some kind of buzzing sound. Cloud Dance did not close his eyes, when the eyes of a hazy also cannot see anything. But when she looked up slightly, she could see the man who held her around her waist and brought her into her arms. This time, the face is not an ordinary facial paralysis, but a face as beautiful as sculpture, deep black eyes as sharp as eagles, and the tight corners of the mouth with a strict smile. This is his real face. Cloud Dance has never been a flower maniac, but at this time, it is also a little stupefied. He is different from Long Qingxia's handsome evil, if you want to use an adjective to describe his image, or use handsome cold or cold. For the sight of Cloud Dance, the man seems to be aware of it, but he is not deliberately using concealment. In fact, the appearance that Yunwoo had seen before was not the disguise that she thought, but the concealment that was not very advanced in the fairyland. However, another powerful aspect of this technique is that the more powerful the caster is, it can not only change his appearance, but also change his body shape and restrain his breath. Of course, if the opponent's strength is stronger than the caster's, then the concealment will be seen through. Everything in the world will be mutually reinforcing. Nothing is invincible. I've known you for some time. It seems that you haven't said your name since you came here. Cloud Sea around or hazy, still falling, idle-like suddenly asked. In fact, Cloud Dance is to see him finally show his true face, then it's time to ask him, should be able to get the answer. Cannot wait for the man to answer, the scene of hazy falling around suddenly changed. A torrent of hot air from the brush, the next second, a hot dazzling red reflected in the eyes. Volcano. Cloud Dance out of control, the voice is quite sharp up. The pallor of the facial expression is very obvious, can see, the hands also subconsciously grasped nearby man's skirt. The lava in the volcano. Cloud Dance this time, just really understand, why that cliff edge wind, why so big, why fall in all around is hazy. It turned out that under the so-called cliff, there was a crater. Moreover, it is an active volcano. Is Yuguishan built beside an active volcano? Cow. It's amazing. In addition to the flash of these two words in Yunwoo's mind, I really can't think of any good words to express the emotion in my heart. No wonder I don't see half a person on the way to the cliff. It turns out that there is no need to guard that place, because who will have enough to jump off the cliff? The corner of the man's eye sweeps the woman in his arms who has lost her face for the first time. The corner of his mouth, which has always been pursed tightly, raises a corner. It seems that seeing her makes him feel better. Of course, after the two fell to a certain distance, the man's figure suddenly jumped towards a certain position above the molten slurry. When the cloud dance reacted, they had already stood on a small platform. The platform is formed by protruding rocks, while on the back of the mountain wall, there are tunnels dug by hand. Does this man have a hobby of being a hamster? How do you feel that he can find a tunnel everywhere? If you don't want to be steamed here, just go. The man is a face of cold light, finished saying, turn round toward that only one person can go through the tunnel. Hey, you haven't answered my question just now. Cloud dance follows. Do you really want to know? Suddenly, walking in front of the man's footsteps, did not look back, but the tone of solemnity of precipitation a lot. Did she ask any serious questions? Although the tunnel in the dark cannot see clearly, but Yunwoo is inexplicable, it seems to feel the face of the man in front of some not very good. Well, forget it. If it's not convenient for you to say, I don't ask. Let's go. I want to see my son and daughter in a hurry. Cloud dance finally feel or don't ask, there is a saying is very right, curious killed the cat. In the current situation, more is better than less. But after Yunwoo's words fell, the man in front suddenly said, generally, people who know my name need to pay some price. No, I'm not very interested. What's the price? I'm kidding. If you have to pay for just asking his name, she might as well wash and sleep. Curiosity about him is just curiosity. If you want to use the cost to know, it is not necessary, at least, for the time being, whether you know or not is just a matter of indifference to her. But I suddenly got interested. The man suddenly turned his head, in the dark, the pair of black eyes like eagles blooming in the dark with a strange light. Cloud Dance's heart inexplicably trembled, intuitive sense of a trace of inexplicable danger. What do you mean? My name, Charm. At the end of the speech, the man in front walked forward again. In the dark, Yunwoo can clearly hear his marching footsteps, but his heart is shaking with his footsteps. What does he mean by that? Charming. Is that his name? Or code? However, no matter what it is, Cloud Dance suddenly feels very bad. Hey, I just said I'm not interested. You said the name yourself. It's none of my business. In a hurry to follow up the Cloud Dance, some anxiously added such a sentence. But the man in front of him never stopped and continued to walk along the tunnel. Dark Cloud Palace. Above the main hall. Suzerain, the Dark Emperor has been walking around the palace frequently recently. Is there any problem? A younger four elders, Lo asked sitting in the main hall of the court. On the main hall, there are almost several elders and administrators of the Dark Cloud Palace. Yes, recently I also found that the Dark Emperor always seems to be wandering in the halls. 2 days ago, he went to the training room in my hall. Originally, they were also very pleased with the Dark Emperor, who had spent most of the efforts of the whole Dark Cloud Palace. At least, after the appearance of the Son of Light in Yugoshin, the awakening of the Dark Emperor prevented the Dark Cloud Palace from being crushed all at once. But, after all, they are from the human world, and they still have a strong sense of autonomy. They were afraid that the Dark Emperor would remember what? If so, it's no joke at all. Therefore, the elders present and several administrators also expressed their suspicions with some worries. Besides wandering around, do you find anything wrong? Lien Ting was sitting in the upper hall in white, with a trace of dignity on his handsome face. It's not. It's just that he has been reminded many times, but he still walks around. If he doesn't remember something, it's nothing, he's afraid. After that, Director Lu didn't say it, but the meaning was clear to everyone present. Several elder relatives automatically used the awakening array of Dark Cloud Palace. His memory can't come back in general. However, you'd better pay more attention these days. Yes. Lord A Few Steward immediately respectful response, and then also very sensible of the first retreat. In the hall, only 4 elders and Lien Ting were left. Elder, what do you think of this? Lien Ting looked at an old man sitting under his right hand. The old man has a kind eyebrow and a good purpose, and he has a grey robe. He is just like an immortal. But if you look at it carefully, you will find that his good eyes are full of wisdom and coldness. Although the awakening array can wash away the memory of the awakened person, it can't guarantee that there is no exception. What's more, before the Dark Emperor awakened, his self-consciousness was so strong that he was not afraid of 10,000, just in case. What Elder Marshall Brother said is very true. We saw with our own eyes the stubborn resistance of the Dark Emperor before he woke up. If he really recovered his memory, he would never stay. But it's not so easy to find a candidate for the Dark Emperor. As you know, it took us a long time to find someone who met all the requirements. If we really got to that point, wouldn't it be a pity to destroy him? The one who spoke was the 3 elders. Among the 4, he was actually older than the other 3 elders. But because of his practice, his appearance was the youngest of the 4. Even if it's a pity, you can't leave the future trouble. Have you forgotten the loss of Guangming Department 300 years ago? We in the dark have to take a warning. Heir Chang is always a middle-aged man with a fat figure. He usually has a simple and honest face. If you didn't look at his clothes, it's hard to imagine that he would be the 2nd elder in the Dark Cloud Palace. The Son of Light has appeared in the Light Department. If we lose the Dark Emperor at this time, our Dark Department will be suppressed. The 3 elders still don't suggest it. I said, Old 3, can you refute my proposal every time? Just now the Elder Marshall Brother said, if you are not afraid of 10,000, just in case. Then I don't agree either. Well, 2 Elder Marshall Brothers, it seems that this matter is not as serious as you said. Do you think it's too far away? No matter whether the Dark Emperor's memory has been restored or not, now it's just that the Dark Emperor has been wandering in the Dark Cloud Palace. Do you want to destroy him or not? This time, it was the young 4 elders who first said that the Dark Emperor often wandered in the palace. Before the 2nd elder spoke to the 3rd elder, the 4th elder raised his eyes and looked at the elder. Elder Marshall Brother, you'd better talk about this. However, if you want to talk about my suggestion, I think we should take a look at it for the moment. After all, what the 3rd Elder Marshall Brother just said is not unreasonable. The current situation is really bad for our Dark Cloud Palace. If we really lose the Dark Emperor, it must be our dark faction that will lose. This made several people present ponder for a while. Lord, what do you think of this? The elder didn't decide anything without authorization. Instead, he looked up and looked at Lien Ting on the throne. Lien Ting looked at the elder deeply. When he saw the smile in the elder's eyes, Lien Ting couldn't help but hook his lips. I think the elder seems to have a plan, so it's better to listen to the elder's method first. Let the tiger go back to the mountain. The elder suddenly said these 4 words, and then he began to laugh inexplicably. And other people have not understand, it is not known, anyway, even after hearing the court, the smile on the handsome face suddenly deepened inexplicably. Let the tiger go back to the mountain. On a peak in the back of the Dark Cloud Palace, there was an old man standing facing the wind. At this time, he was staring at a place in the Dark Cloud Palace far below. I didn't expect that he was in the Dark Cloud Palace. No wonder he began to smell an unusual smell from the Cloud Palace. It turned out that it was the ghost of the Dark Cloud Palace. The old man muttering to himself was no one else. It was the North Old Man who separated from the East, West and South Old Men not long ago. Before the 4 of them separated that day, they discussed going to the Dark Cloud Palace as their destination. However, he came some time earlier than the other 3 old men. Just did not expect, but let him inadvertently found a familiar breath. The son-in-law of the Cloud family in the human world, Long Qingxie. Before they left to trace the smell of Cloud dance, they also took the dragon's evil clothes from the Cloud family and shouldered the promise of helping to find them. And just now, he faintly smelled the same smell from a man in the Dark Cloud Palace. However, something unexpected happened to him. In addition to recognizing the identity of Dragon Qingxie, he also smelled out the power of darkness after awakening from him. That cloud-dancing girl can give birth to the son of darkness. It seems that most of the reasons really come from this man. 4th brother, What are you looking at so seriously? Why didn't you even notice that we were here? A bright voice came from behind. Turning his head, he saw the old man from the west and the old man from the south coming near at the same time. The north old man looked behind them and found that the east old man didn't show up. We met Jiao Feng in front of us. We didn't see Big Brother. I guess we're almost here. But what did you just see? Old man, she looked in the direction that old man Bei just looked at. How could it be the son-in-law of Jian family? Is the hand of the dark cloud palace extended to the human world? After smelling the breath, the old man frowned and looked dignified. We've been away for a long time. I'm afraid the fairyland is beginning to disobey the rules. South old man, who has always been more eccentric, also spoke in a low voice. The fierce black eyes looked at a figure in the dark cloud palace in the distance, from which they naturally felt the dark breath of the dragon at this time. They break the rules so much, don't the secret clans ignore it? Old man, she has some doubts. But obviously they don't know the answer. Now that the son-in-law of the Cloud family has been found, do you think we should take them back to the human world first? Or should we solve the problem of the son of darkness first? The old man turned to ask his second and third brothers. I think I'd better talk about it when elder brother comes, said the old man. Okay, let's wait for big brother first. The three decided to be the same, so for a moment, they had no other action. Just above the peak, they looked down at the dark cloud palace in the distance. Their strength was very strong before they died. Even if they were soul body at this time, their distant vision could not stop them. But also because they are soul bodies, they can't let people detect their breath in general, so they wantonly search in the dark area during this period of time, and didn't attract many people's attention. Anyway. In a forest of Guangming Department, after walking out of the narrow and small tunnel, Yunwu followed the man named Mei in front into the forest. It may be close to the volcano around, the trees in the forest are not very prosperous, and there are almost no small wild animals. But Yunwu felt that the forest was still within the boundary of Yugui Mountain. Where's my child? After walking for most of the day, there was no direction to the city. Yunwu finally asked. At this point, the only thing she wanted to see was her children. Follow me and you'll see your child. What's the hurry? Charm rather cold voice, calm came. If you don't know it's not his opponent, Yunwu can't help kicking him. What's the rush? Her child is in his hands. Can she not be in a hurry? Patience. Cloud danced self-hypnosis for a while, so long to bear down, also not so little time. As long as the child with her, she immediately find a way to leave the Jade Mountain. Originally thought that two people began to silent walk in front of the charm but suddenly opened his mouth. I heard that Yuzigi arranged you in the east chamber of Yundian. Cloud danced Leng for a while, yes. What's the problem? The enchantment footstep seemed to pause slightly for a second, but it was only a second, and he couldn't see that he was different. It's nothing, it's just curiosity. Curious? What's so curious about that? You have the ability to go in and out of the door freely. What else can arouse your curiosity? Yunwu glanced at him and sneered. There are not many things that can arouse my curiosity, but I have to be curious about the identity of Yugushin's chosen partner. The halfway chosen by Yugushin master. What do you mean by that? Cloud dance brow tightly. See you get up, always feel oneself as if didn't make clear some matters. At this time, in front of the charm but suddenly stopped, turned his head inexplicably looked at the cloud. You don't know? What do I know? Tut tut, I didn't expect that you were quite dull. It's so obvious that I haven't seen it yet. I don't know what Yuzi thinks of you. Charmed that handsome cold face, but did not give a smile. Yuzi takes a fancy to me. Cloud dance and hear his words, the first reaction is slightly leng for a while, then, is to understand the meaning of his words. After a long time, the abnormal behavior of Yuzi Gui to her is because he takes a fancy to her. Damn, are the people in the fairyland fed up? Can a woman with 2 children also cause crime? All along, Yunwoo only thinks that Yuzi's behavior is to know her child's whereabouts from her mouth, in addition to making use of her. How can you think about that emotion? What's more, after listening to the tone of these fairyland people many times, it's obvious that their views on the human world are always extremely arrogant. Now, it's a laughing matter to say that the patriarch of a large clan has taken a fancy to her married husband. Cloud Dance's third reaction is to sneer and look up at the charm. It's really my fault. It makes your patriarch like me. May didn't expect her to reply so sarcastically. She was stunned for a moment, but soon his cold face began to smile, this time with a real smile. Maybe, you do have something special. Finish saying, also didn't see the reaction of Cloud Dance again, continue to head also don't return of forward shuttle in the woods. It's a special fart. Cloud Dance if you can, really want to burst of vulgar language. Who are these people? What is special? In their men's eyes, the woman who clings to them is a normal woman. Forget it. It's really unreasonable to argue with these superior people. It took about half an hour to go through the woods. The charm finally stopped. Where's my child? The cloud danced to sweep an eye all around Bear Valley, one I can see to the end, completely don't see a little human figure. It's in there. Enchantment lifted Mao to sweep an eye that shallow valley road. Inside? Cloud danced to that square city and learned the existence of the magic array in the fairyland, so it was a little calm. Just go in. Or what do you need to do to get in? Cloud Dance looks at the charm. I always feel that this man can't help her without any purpose. I need something. Enchantment that pair of eyes such as eagle is looking at her, this time, there is a certain purpose to her undisguised existence. What is it? Directly, if I can, I don't want to be against you. Cloud Dance is also direct. When she came to this fairyland, she had too many enemies. If she can, she really doesn't want to have any enemies with this mysterious man, even if she can't be friends, at least not enemies. The holy things of your witches. When the charm said this, the fundus of the eye obviously flickered a faint color. The meaning is not clear. The holy things of the witch clan. Yunwoo seems to be surprised. You know I'm a witch. Although your son has almost absorbed all the power of the sorcerer in you, the blood breath of your sorcerer saint cannot be changed. He has a clear idea. Cloud Dance can't help but see more charm a few eyes, look at him in the eyes and didn't hide. Then how do you know that the holy things of the witch clan are on me? Yunwoo asked again. The witch family is originally a mysterious family in charge of the human world in the fairyland, and the holy things of the witch family will only appear in the hands of the saint of the witch family. After the destruction of the witch family, the saint of the witch family has not died, but her blood has been almost destroyed by the people who have imprisoned her. The only thing that the holy things of the witch family can be found in you, the present but not fully awakened saint of the witch family. The analysis in May's mouth is very thorough. Can Cloud Dance after hearing that words, but heart bottom trembled for a while, take off as sorceress clan saint? Imprisoned? Is that her mother? Even though she knew that her mother, whom she had never met, had not died, but had been taken by the people of the beast sect. At this time, she really heard the whereabouts from the magic mouth, and it was a different feeling in her heart. Do you know who imprisoned the last witch saint? Who is it? Cloud Dance's eyes are sharp, squinting and looking directly at the charm. It seems no surprise that Yunwoo has this kind of reaction charm, but Junling's face has restrained that smile, such as the eagle's black eyes erect a touch of silent and powerful coldness. Now we talk, it seems that it is not the question you want to ask. If you really want to get the answer you want from me, you can exchange it with the price. Now, we are talking about the holy things of the witch clan. No more. Yunwoo tried to restrain her inner uneasiness and try her best to recover her calmness. At the beginning of the war with the master of the beast sect, the holy things of the witch clan had disappeared to help me destroy the master. What Bai Lao has done for her is always a pain in her heart. Since it is called a holy thing, how can it be that the patriarch disappears just to destroy a human world? May obviously doesn't believe it. For the sake of the sorcerer's holy things, he also does his best. How can he believe that the sorcerer's holy things are gone just by her words? But what Yunwu said is true. Since you can see the blood of our witch family, can't you see if there are any holy things in me? Yunwu understood that he didn't believe what he said, so he took a step and stood in front of him with open hand. Mei looks at the woman in front of her. Although her face is expressionless and cold, her hands on both sides are clenched tightly. If he can see the traces of the sacred objects of the witch clan on her, will he still spend so much effort on her? It was because he didn't see the existence of the sorcerer's holy things from her that he followed her all the time. But now she told him it was gone. Does that make him forget it? No, 300 years. How many more years does he have to wait? Since you don't want to hand over the holy things of the witch clan, your children don't want to go back. If the eagle's eyes are attacked and died by a cold and fierce light, he will walk towards the valley alone. What do you mean? You wait. See that charm completely change face of circumstance, Cloud Dance hastily chase up. But just close to the valley, a strong spring suddenly hit her out. Bang, the body was hit on a tree trunk, shaking all the fallen leaves. Cough. The sharp pain of the wind from behind made Yunwu coughing, with a slightly bloody smell rising from his throat. What a powerful force. It's not that I've never seen Cloud Dance like the formation border. I've even met the difficult border before, but there's never been a kind of border formation that has such a strong counterattack power. If you look inside, Yunwu can be sure that she has an internal injury. But at this time, she didn't care about her own injury. Instead, she scrambled up behind her and headed for the valley in a hurry. Mei, if you don't believe me, can I let you see it with your own eyes? Just when the figure of the enchantment was about to disappear in the border array, Cloud Dance didn't care about the image, and immediately cried out. For this man, she is absolutely not sure that she can get the child back from him. At least, until now, this man makes her feel a sense of fear beyond the crisis. So even if she had to plead in a low voice, she would not hesitate. After a meal, he turned around and stared at the clouds like an eagle. Let me see it with my own eyes. Yuzigi can read my memory from my memory. I believe that with your strength, it will not be difficult for you. The so-called humiliation is not equal to her two children at this time. This time the memory is read, she can willingly. Charms smell speech, it seems inexplicable deep looking at Cloud Dance good half ring, finally slowly toward her back. You said, did Yuzigi read your memory? The charming eyes narrowed slightly. Don't worry, his memory is limited before I enter the city. It means it doesn't expose him. This just let the spirit that looks slightly restored to come back. When he came to Yunwu's side, he suddenly put his hand on her slender shoulder, and at the same time, a faint warm current came into her body along his palm. Yunwu knows that he seems to be reading her memory in his way. So she did not resist, as the warm current along the shoulder into her mind. Different from the stabbing pain under Yuzigi's power, when the power of charm penetrated into her mind, Yunwu had only a little discomfort, and then her consciousness began to be lax. Which part of memory is read, Cloud Dance can control itself. When the charm of the hand back, Cloud Dance that lax spirit began to return, some dull brain, but on the whole, the body did not receive much influence. It seems that everyone's strength is different, and the effect is also different. Now you should see what you want to see, too. Cloud Dance looks at the charm. The charming eyebrows were deeply locked, and there was a faint color between the eyebrows. However, there was less cold and fierce air at the beginning, but he looked at the Cloud Dance seriously and said, even so, if I say I must get the holy things of the witch family. The sorcerer's holy things have disappeared. Where do you want me to find another sorcerer's holy things for you? Yunwu is also a little annoyed. You may continue to stare at her. Me? Yunwu frowned and stared at him. What do you mean? Its final strength is given to a few of you. If you want to get it back, you just need to get it back from you. Get it back. How can I get it? The Cloud Dances, the eyes one ling, kill it and take the inner elixir. The charm of the deep eye began to flash off a sense of obliteration. After hearing the words, Yunwoo's face suddenly changed, but it was also accompanied by tremendous anger. Do you mean that you want to kill my relatives and companions for the sake of the holy things of the witch clan? Mai Xiaomi looked at her, and the corners of her mouth were frivolous. I don't want to, but I have to get it. Killing people in the human world is just like crushing a few ants to me. What if I say I won't? Cloud Dance squints star eyes, cold light attack die, a chill from the bottom of my heart, no longer any cover-up burst out at this time. You think you can stop me? Charm coldly looking at her, words with a cold pride. He didn't think that the woman who had been passive and pitifully waiting for his help would have any resistance. Even though she is a witch saint. It's just a witch saint who doesn't really wake up and don't drain all her energy. In any case, she is not a threat to him now. Cloud Dance extremely angry counter smile, is that right, then try. Her relatives and companions will always be her rebellious scales. Once someone tries to touch her scales, she will do whatever it takes to hurt her enemies and herself. Whiz! Murinten, in that moment, came out of the bracelet on her wrist. Sharp on thorn, thick green cane, even if the lethality of the man does not play any role, but also can be used to obstruct. As soon as Mulongtang came out, several vines leaped up in the air, forming a net attack in the mid-air, and without hesitation toward the charm. Charm but from the beginning to the end are indifferent looking at that Ling air attack to the green vine, light but a hand. Bang bang. After a pale white light, several small bombs exploded in the air. And for him, it's just as easy as moving his fingers. Just, when a cold on suddenly and noiselessly approaches in front of him, the evil spirit facial expression just had a piece of second startle change. Tear the slight tearing sound when the blade cuts the clothes, accompanied by the strange cold. At the moment when the evil figure attacked the body shook, the phantom disappeared under the cold light, and appeared 10 meters away. The cloud dances that pair of star eyes, at this time only then leaves the evil spirit to kill the idea, the whole body spirit dint lifts, full strength sends out an attack. The green vine, which was blown up in mid-air, grew up again at this time. Whoosh, whoosh. With the fast shadow of cloud dance, it also attacks with high speed. Date and time, I saw in front of the small valley, a group of green vines with a petite figure, crazy in the siege attack a strong tall figure. The speed is so fast that you can't see the attack clearly with your naked eye. Only see, a flash on this side, the next flash on the other side. Bang! Poof! A white light, a figure suddenly flying out of the air, heavily hit a rock not far away. Then, the man's blood gushed out and dyed the gravel on the ground red. At the same time, the scattered green vine turned into a green light and returned to the wrist of Cloud Dance. Cloud Dance in the heart samurai smile, in his hand, unexpectedly even a minute didn't pass. But on the pale face without blood color, it was still the cold anger, and forced to bear the pain to get up from the ground, looked up at the cold charm not far away. Why don't you kill me? Cloud Dance asked sarcastically. The charm looks at the Cloud Dance in front of her, and there is a little bit of unknown undercurrent and exploration in her eyes. Just now, she was attacked by the border. She must have suffered some injuries. Unexpectedly, she could resist so much. This is really the blood of the witch people. But he was not happy with such a woman. You don't want your child back when you challenge me so much? Cloud Dance wiped the blood of the corner of the mouth, sneer away, have fart to put. At this time, Yunwoo is not in a good mood to play with him again. If she knew that this incident would involve her family and companions, she would not propose to let him see any memory at the beginning. Now, she did dig her own grave. But Yunwoo also knew that as long as he had to get the holy things of the witch family, it would happen sooner or later. In that case, we can solve it together now. Child, I can only give you one and another. When you get back the holy things of the witch clan, you can exchange them. Charm said this, obviously more consideration. No way. Cloud Dance angry way. But her opposition did not affect him. Charm took a step forward, a light white streamer immediately from his hands toward the small valley. In that moment, after the dazzling white light flashed, a small hut appeared in the valley. However, before the cloud dance had any action, there was an air mass wrapped by white light in the hut, and Little Potato flapped his wings and roared like a follower. Yunwoo knew immediately that it was her child. The body reacts much faster than the brain. When the brain reacts, the seriously injured body already flies away, and pounces on the air mass that flies to the charm. But before Cloud Dance came near, a powerful force would blow her out mercilessly. Gulyalu. Small Potato seems to see Cloud Dance's hit fly, roar, small body a turn, want to catch up. But at this time, another figure suddenly came from the void, but it was much faster than it. By May, I haven't seen you for 300 years. Why is your cold and fierce murderous spirit still so heavy? A familiar voice, cold and unemotional, sounded over the valley. The cloud dances like rags, and the body that has been knocked out is about to hit the ground when it is held in a warm embrace. Poof! The blood, again gushing out, pale as paper. Yunwoo only felt that his consciousness had a moment's lax blank at that moment. But she did not allow herself to see this coma in the past, her child is still in the hands of that person. Forced to take a breath, Yunwoo tried his best to calm the dizziness, looked up and caught his man. Yuzi. He's coming. Such a coincidence. Suddenly, the corner of Cloud Dancing's pale mouth inexplicably mocks itself. It seems that in these people's eyes, she is indeed the object of use. I'm afraid that the little slave left her obediently today. It was arranged early. And all this, I'm afraid, is calculated by this man. Yuzi. I haven't seen you for 300 years. You are still so mean. After seeing the appearance of Yuzi Gui, the charm regained her former calmness after a moment's stupefaction. However, her eagle-like eyes were staring at him coldly. If you look at it from the eyes, the hatred between the two seems not small. But when Yuzi came back, he glanced at him coldly. Then he looked down at the pale woman in his arms and put his palm on her back. At that moment, a warm current rushed into Yunwoo's weak and seriously injured body. Cloud Dance at this time did not refuse, she also wanted to grab back the child. However, seeing this, how can we let them heal? In the air, a white light suddenly attacked Yuzi. Yuzigi's eyes were sharp and his other hand was empty. The powerful and oppressive force of white fog suddenly faced the white light. Bang! With a loud noise, the two forces burst out in the air, pouring out a force of aftershocks. I've been waiting for 300 years, but I didn't expect that when your weakness appeared, Yuzigi, when you didn't kill me, I really don't know if you were stupid. Still so pure and lofty. But you sent it to me today. Leave me your life. See Yuzigi resist his power at the same time, unexpectedly still give Cloud Dance healing, this, inexplicably stabbed the spirit of the heart of that wound. After the two children in the air mass were trapped to one side, the figure disappeared. In a twinkling of an eye, he came to Yuzigi. Without any hesitation, the white sword condensed in the air stabbed Yuzi like a swift beast. At that moment, Yunwoo in Yuzigi's arms felt a terrible murderous and captivating force. She knew that if Yuzigi didn't let go of her at this time, he couldn't completely avoid the attack. And if he let her go and evaded the attack, it was her who took the attack. Even if Cloud Dance is in full strength at this time, I'm afraid she can't avoid it completely. What's more, in the case of serious injury, she can't avoid it at all. I didn't wait for Yunwoo to see the attack. Hoo. The hand that embraces her waist suddenly a force, the wind beside the ear is protruding, in front of a flower, the cloud dances, feel the body is being held a rapid movement but open. Poof. The sound of flesh and blood being stabbed in. Yunwoo was not hurt, but before she could see the situation clearly, she felt that her body was thrown out of the air again and flew to the other side. However, it was different from the ferocity that had been shot out before, but was flying in that direction by a force. Goo goo. Small potato see Cloud Dance body suddenly fly over, immediately mutter quickly flew over. Goo goo. Little potato is struggling to catch Yunwoo. Two fleshy little wings are flapping in the air. It's not until Yunwoo is safely put on the ground that he looks at Yunwoo anxiously as if he wants to make sure she's in good condition. Little potato, I'm fine. Yunwoo stood up from the ground with the fishy sweetness in her throat. On the other side, the two figures had already fought together. The flash of the fast attack figure, in the mid-air crisscross complex flashing, the speed is so fast, even Cloud Dance can't see clearly, it can be seen that the power, she can't compare now. Yuzigi just threw her to this side, which was just the place where the charm trapped her children. Yunwoo knew that Yuzi was protecting her, and the enchanting sword must have stabbed him. But at this time, she didn't care to pay attention to the fight between the two. She turned around and walked quickly to the place covered by the white light. Dong dong. The little fat girl in the white light wanted to come out of the little white light group when she saw the Cloud Dance. The little fat girl hung the transparent wall, with her hands dead. Duh. Through the white light, little fat girl is very happy to see her mother, but the damn thing trapped her, she wants to leave and can't leave, so her heart is very angry. But she has already used the strength of sucking, still can't earn this broken thing. What to do? It seems that my mother is also very worried. She has been chopping with a knife, but I can't see her splitting. Little fat girl frowned. She was worried, but she was depressed. It's too late. Her little brother can still sleep. It's a pig. Little fat girl turned her head and looked at the little baby who didn't know the situation at all. Her mouth pouted and she wanted to wake him up, but his weak one couldn't even walk. It seemed useless to wake him up. For the first time, she wanted to despise her younger brother. How weak. I love to sleep. But even though she despises and dislikes her little brother, she still protects him carefully behind her, so as not to hurt him when his mother breaks this broken thing. Mother said, she is a sister. It's right to protect my brother. Get out of the way, little fat girl. Yunwoo looked at the little figure close to the white light barrier. Yunwoo waved to her and motioned her to step back. Just cut continuously to arrive, all can't break open. Cloud Dance can only find information from the dragon scroll to see if there is any way to break the powerful boundary. Finally, only find the wood spirit to enter from the bottom. Mulongtang, be careful not to hurt them. Summon the wood spirit on the wrist, Cloud Dance low voice of exhorta. Mu Ling can understand it. Yunwoo knows this very well. The green vines, after hearing the sound, just shake the branches, swish into the ground, straight into the ground. Bang bang. Chong chong. In midair, more and more powerful forces were heard. The little potato flies around anxiously. It has already tried, but it can't break it. Otherwise, it doesn't need to chase after for a while. However, the battle over there seems to be coming to an end, and the two little masters have not been rescued. What should we do? Yunwoo saw Mulongtang in more than 10 seconds after entering the earth, and finally emerged from the white light boundary. Originally, he was worried and finally relieved a little. I'll use the spirit power as a guide. You can bring the child out quickly. Cloud Dance finished saying, also don't care about the internal injury in the body didn't recover, luck elixir field, straight will body spirit power into just would dragon Rattan break into the position. At that moment, the earth element, which had never been felt, actually felt something, which was a surprise for Cloud Dance. Originally, it was only with the spirit power as the guide, and it could only rely on the wood dragon Rattan to bring the child out from the bottom of the earth. But now if she can sense the earth element, it means that she can use the earth element. Boom! There was a sudden shock on the ground. With the spirit power, a crack suddenly opened in front of Yunwoo. The crack went straight into the boundary of the white light. The little fat girl in the border, when she was entangled by that Mulongtang, she didn't forget to hold her little brother tightly with her fat hand. The moment the child was entangled, Mulongtang quickly penetrated into the crack. Fortunately, Yunwoo uses earth elements to open the underground cracks. Otherwise, it would be impossible to bring the children out of the ground by Mulongtang alone. Duh. In the area of Mulongtang out of the ground, the little fat girl can't care about her little brother, so she flies to the clouds, with tears shining in her big eyes and grievances on her face. Where's Mom? She was bullied by that villain. At the moment when Yunwoo holds the child in her arms, tears also rise. Her heart aches and she is satisfied, her child. But Yunwoo doesn't know. At the moment when she uses the earth element, the charm of fighting with Yuzigi in the air suddenly changes. But also at that moment, his figure quickly withdrew from Yuzi's attack area and danced to the clouds. Be careful. Jade's son returns, only have time to shout. But it's still too late. At that moment, Yunwoo felt the danger and wanted to escape, but his body was lifted up by the power. Goo goo. Little Potato roared. Duh. The fat girl screamed. Ah. The sleeping young master was also awakened. Yunwoo only felt that at that moment, his head was blank and his body was smashed by the force. However, he held the child's hands tightly and did not dare to let go. But in mid-air, the figure that came with it forced her hands away and robbed the two children in her arms. Give it back to me. Yunwoo's face was pale and roared. Even though his body was in pain like breaking apart, he didn't know where the power came from. The body that had fallen out of the sky jumped up in mid-air and rushed to the man who had robbed her child. Charm eyes squint, but it is the first time with deep meaning to look at the woman toward him. She, however, is beyond his expectation. But it's not enough. I'm sorry, the deal just failed, so you will lose your two children at the same time. That's the price. In the air, the voice of enchantment comes with an empty voice. And then, he saw that figure began to turn into a virtual shadow in the void. Duh. The little fat girl cried. Give the baby back to me. Cloud Dance heart such as drama crack, looking at the enchantment of the figure, eyes scarlet, rushed faster, but still seems to be faster than the virtual figure.